Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Creative Differences Podcast, the podcast brought to you by the Creative Differences Podcast. My name is Dallas, and I'm kind of getting my voice back. It's been gone for 2 days. I sound a little Macy Grayish. That is the reason.
Hi, I'm Gabby, and oof, was this an adventure trying to get this going?
I'm Cassie, and I might have to go to court soon. Not telling you why, though.
What the hell?
And I'm Demi, and God, this has been an adventure. Welcome to another episode of the Creative Differences Podcast, your one-stop shop for movie reviews, Fancast Fridays, Throwback Thursdays, and a number of other pop culture-related items. Happy New Year, guys.
Woo!
Legit. It might actually be like the first day of 2024 when this comes out. I hope it is. I've worked extremely hard if it is. We have this thing that we do here where we like to recap the year. It is our year in review, and what we like to do is we start the week off with our favorite movies of the previous year. So today, favorite movies of 2023, our top 10.
Yeah.
See,
So let's talk about, how that works in case you're new here. It's a list. So if in the interest of time, we will skip if somebody shares an answer with somebody, but they have it ranked higher. What does that mean? I'll tell you now. If Demi's number 9 is Ghosted and Gabby's number 1 is Ghosted, then we will skip when Demi says it at number 9, and we will talk about it in round 1 when Gabby gets to it. Bang, bang. Everybody got it.
see.
You always
That
come
one
up with
doesn't sound improbable.
Oh, it
No,
is
It's very improbable.
It is. It's
Extremely improbable. It's
Yeah.
impossible, as a matter of fact.
I know our
Actually,
team
yes.
has it.
Yep. Thank you, Dallas.
I know
Okay.
our team.
That was a bad
It's
movie.
very impossible. All right, so make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe, because for the rest of the week, we'll be giving our review of last year in different
Yes.
ways and facets and forms.
And because Cassie basically told me to pull myself up by my bootstraps earlier today, and I think that'd be easier if we had a podcast audience of some note.
It's true.
That's true. She did say that.
It's true. All that
I
happened.
didn't say exactly that, but yeah.
It was low
Pretty
key
We have
mean.
evidence.
It was low key
We have
mean.
receipts.
I was like, way to pour salt on the wound.
Right?
All right, guys, let's get this started with our honorable mentions. Dallas, do you have any?
I have 5 as usual.
I know I can count on you.
Yep. I am bound by honor. Oh, first off, I didn't get to see the Iron Claw yet. I didn't get to see American Fiction yet. So they're not on my list. I don't know if they would be. Sorry.
Oh, that's another thing. Sorry, guys. We're doing a cutoff this year. So if our cutoff is basically the holiday season, because we missed out on a bunch of movies because holidays. So those will be counted towards next year's list. So basically anything Aquaman and on counts for next year.
Yeah, because anyone but
Yes.
you would probably be on my list, but alas.
Also, in the interest of simplicity, I'm not going to put anything from this holiday season on my next year's list just because I am
Who you are.
neurotic in a certain type of way. But honorable mentions are Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, The Money, Air, Haunted Mansion, and The Blackening.
Damn, The
Love
Blackening was this year?
Oh, shoot. That was this year. Dang
Holy
it.
moly.
Gabby, do you have any honorable mentions?
Alas, I do not. I barely left the house this year, so. It's a miracle I have 10.
Cassie, courtesy question.
I do not have any honorable mentions.
All right, guys, my honorable mentions are Creed 3, The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, The Creator, Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves, and Joyride.
Interesting. I'm surprised The Creator didn't make your list. Well, you're talking about it.
I went through a variation of my bottom 5 on my top 10 list several times over the past couple of weeks. So it's like any of these could have made the top, the
Yeah.
lower tier of it, and I just finally had to just make a decision and finalize it.
It'd be like that
So
sometimes.
I wanted to talk about The Creator so badly because I didn't get to review it, but then I was like, it's not on here because it's actually in the top 10. It's on here because I never got to talk about it.
Oh.
All right, guys, number 10, Dallas.
Number 10. Also, I'm going to be pointing out, when applicable, where these movies were on my most anticipated for
Same.
2023.
Wow.
Because I just really like how much I know myself because a lot of them are very close. So my number 10 was my honorable mention. It was number 11 on my most anticipated for 2023. The Super Mario Brothers movie.
Woo, Skip.
Oh, I got skipped. I got double skipped. Look at me.
Yeah.
Gabby,
All
what's
right.
your number 10?
My number 10 is Oppenheimer.
Ooh, Oppie.
Anybody? No.
No. I think it's one of the
Alright.
best movies of this year, but it's not making my favorites.
It made my favorites because I went and saw, well, technically now that you mentioned Ghosted, I guess it was 11 movies, but I saw 10
Wow.
movies this year.
Wow.
And I did
Being a mom.
Barbenheimer. I did the Barbenheimer. So that's also part of why it's on my list, is that I did the thing. It was amazing. Highly recommend doing
Nice.
it. And I did it in the right order. Oppenheimer first, Barbie second.
Makes sense.
Exactly.
But just for the audience who hasn't heard of this, even though who hasn't heard of Oppenheimer at this point, partly because of the Barbenheimer epidemic that happened.
Phenomenal.
Directed by Christopher Nolan, it stars Cillian Murphy as J. Robert Oppenheimer, the American theoretical physicist credited with being the father of the atomic bomb. What I think a lot of people messed up about Oppenheimer is it's a biopic. It's not just about the atom bomb. So people were like, I want to see explosions. And it was like, yeah, that was part of it. But it was also like, let's examine this dude's relationship with his alcoholic wife, his mistress, what Congress did to him with revoking his security clearance, like, and, you know, sort of where his life ended up at the end. It was good for a biopic. Barbie's better. Let's move on.
Oppenheimer is a phenomenal movie. It's fantastic. It also gave me existential dread when I came out of the theater, so I needed to go see Barbie afterwards. But it is a phenomenal movie. It's super well done. Christopher Nolan, in my opinion, does not miss. I know some people did not like Tenet, but I love Tenet. So there's that.
Yeah.
Didn't see that one.
Question for Gabby. Even though you said you only saw 10 movies, so it's kind of 10 by default. Do you think if you had seen more movies that the thighs would have helped push this higher?
The what?
Not the thighs.
The thighs. Florence Pugh's thighs.
Oh, no.
It's been a long time since we've made that reference.
Actually,
Yeah.
let me tell you why not. Because those scenes felt exploitative. Those sex scenes felt exploitative.
Yeah.
I did not like them. There was one scene where like they had her, you know, like having. I know the way they filmed it wasn't as exploitative, but it still felt like I shouldn't be watching this. And not
When they're in a room full of people and
yeah, and that was like. How do I put it? At the beginning of that, I was like, yes, he's vulnerable, so he feels naked. And then they threw her in there to have sex with him. And I was like, this is stupid. I hate it. So, and like, I understand, I guess it was supposed to be like his wife's perspective of her picturing them together. But I'm like, if it was really her perspective, I feel like she would have been in the hotel room with them, not in the courtroom with them. Yeah, I thought it was dumb and I hated it.
But outside of that, great movie.
Yeah, good movie. Great movie.
Go, Cassie, go.
Cassie, what's your number 10?
my number 10 is Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves.
Skip.
Hey, skip.
Hey.
You got double skipped.
You've gotten double skipped, sis. All right. Number 10 is not getting skipped, and it's very fitting that it be number 10 because it's Fast 10. Fast 10.
Yeah.
No, look at that.
Yeah,
Good
that's not
placement.
going to get
Number
skipped.
10.
It was on my honorable mentions list last year. It's directed by Louis Leterrier, and it's written by Dan Mazzo and Justin Lin. And it stars Vin Diesel, Michelle Rodriguez, Jordana Brewster, Tyrese Gibson, Ludacris, Natalie Emmanuel, Charlize Theron, John Cena, Sung Kang, Helen Mirren, Jason Statham, Brie Larson, Daniela Melchior, and Jason Momoa in what is arguably one of my favorite Jason Momoa roles ever. Maybe my favorite. Yeah, so the IMDb synopsis that I have edited a little bit. When Dante, the son of a previous foe, sets his eyes on the team, his plot scatters Dom's family from Los Angeles to the catacombs of Rome, from Brazil to London, and from Portugal to Antarctica. New allies will be forged and old enemies will resurface, but everything changes when Dom discovers that his 8-year-old son is the ultimate target of Dante's vengeance.
Oh, damn.
Yup.
Okay, Dante going for like the jugular.
He's a psychopath and it's amazing. Jason Momoa is just so much fun in this role. I remember before the movie came out, people were saying that like it's the best Fast and Furious villain, and I was like, yeah, that's going to be hard for me to believe because Cypher is my favorite Fast and Furious villain. I love Charlize Theron in that role, and like I came out of Fast 10 and was like, no, by far Jason Momoa is the best Fast and Furious villain. He's so much fun. He is like this franchise's version of the Joker, and he is clearly just like wilding out in the role and just having a good time. I'm a huge Fast and Furious fan. I love this family. I will follow them to the ends of the earth, which tends to be the case with these movies.
Yeah.
It was pretty fun to get to watch like everybody separate and see them interact in like different dynamics. So like Tyrese, Ludacris, Natalie Emmanuel, and Sung Kang are kind of the like a team on their own for a minute. Vin Diesel's on his own for a while. Michelle Rodriguez is on her own. Michelle Rodriguez is interacting with Charlize Theron's character the entire time.
Yeah.
And so that's also very interesting because of what their dynamic is. And John Cena also has his own little segment of the movie as well. And I think it's just a really good startup for I guess, what we're calling the final trilogy of this movie series. And I'm super excited to see where it goes, especially with the end credit scene that they gave us, especially with the ending that they gave us. They left it on a cliffhanger. So I'm super stoked to see where it goes. Also, Daniela Melchior is in it and Brie Larson, and I absolutely love both of those actresses, and I love that they get to be involved in this. These movies are always super fun. The action is always extremely cool, and I like what Louis Leterrier brought with his own directing style to the film. And so I look forward to seeing if he continues on with the next two films and what he brings to those as well. And I can't wait to see how the story ends for this family. But yeah, this was a good start. If you love action, if you love adventure like that, if you love the globe trotting, if you love the ridiculousness, then Fast and Furious is definitely the movie for you. Fast X, loved it, and that is why it's my number 10. I had so much fun, and if you listen to our review of the movie, you can hear how much fun I had in that theater in my review of the movie.
Yes.
Yes.
That takes us to number 9.
Woo-woo.
Dallas, what's your number 9?
Number 9. All right, my number 9 was my number 9 most anticipated of 2023. Missing.
Whoa.
Missing is written and directed by Will Merrick and Nick Johnson. Stars Storm Reed, Joaquin de Amelia, Ken Leung, Amy Landerker, Daniel Henney, and Nia Long, who we all love. Summary is, after her mama go missing, a young woman tries to find her from home using that computer. She always on that phone.
Very
I edited
nice.
that a little bit. But yeah, this is the true crime dateline for the always on that phone generation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so good. I don't know if everybody knows what Missing is, but it is a spiritual sequel, kind of same universe as Searching, which came out with John Cho about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And that was amazing. And this is amazing because, as we always say,
Black people make everything better.
Black people make everything better.
Make everything better.
Yes. Speaking of Black people, Storm Reed, she's fantastic. She
Love her.
carries this movie by, default of it being mostly her and her computer and her phone. And she's playing a character who's gone through some grief, and she plays that really well. And that's before the inciting incident of her mama gone. She plays my mama gone very well. Like, the fear, the dread, the resentment of, if we're being frank, a kind of annoying teenage girl. She nails all of that. They do creative things with the visuals that I love. Screen life movies can get a little stale if you're just looking at a screen.
Yeah.
But the way they do everything, like certain reveals that they do because someone sent a picture in live mode instead of just stagnant. So it moves and it reveals something that was, oh my God, like live cam stuff, trying to get into people's emails, revealing who's talking by cutting to a different part of the screen. It's great. And as someone who doesn't really like true crime because it makes me feel icky, I was able to get the kind of entertainment that you get from a true crime type story, but with fiction, which is great for me because I want it to be fiction. I don't want that real life story. Just make me feel bad.
That's how they got you finally.
Yeah, that's how they got me. But shout out to Joaquin de Almeida, who plays Javi. He's a real MVP. He was a real one. And shout out to Nia Long, who, like most of our generation, a lot of us have probably been in love with since we were like 10. And she's only gotten better with age in every single way. But yeah, that's Missing, number 9. Bang, bang, bang.
I would say that these movies are these are the only movies where I'm like, yo, these are probably better being watched on a computer screen, which is crazy. Because I didn't watch Searching until right before I went to see Missing. And it was so crazy watching it on a computer screen because it just felt so like it belonged there.
Right. Like, oh yeah, I'm here too.
I was forgetting that like I'm not moving a mouse around and I'm not doing these things or anything like that. It was just like it lived on the screen. But also it was great getting to see Missing in theaters because I love a good theater experience.
Same.
I did appreciate that Missing seemed to evolve the artistic choices or the aesthetic choices of Searching. It was like, we did this before. How do we make it different? How do we improve upon that? And I just thought like the editing had gotten better and the choices of what apps to use had gotten better. Like using the Ring camera, for instance, was like really good.
Because who don't have a Ring camera? I don't. But,
neither do I.
Or like jumping to like your phone screen nowadays, because your computer screen can also now jump to your phone screen, or you can use your phone as a camera for your laptop now.
Yeah.
Like just different ways that we've evolved our technology. Now you can also include those in these screen life films, and it works really, really well.
Yeah, I love it. Oh, and shout out to proving that cinema can come out in January. It usually doesn't, but it can.
Yeah. Rare.
You always get a few.
Stereotypes.
But possible.
Yeah.
That's like a bummer for my birthday because it's in January and Can't go to the. I mean, you can go to the movies. It's just going to be a little bit disappointing, probably.
All I get for my birthday are horror movies, and I don't need those or deserve them. So.
Oh yeah, yeah.
All right, Gabby, what's your number 9?
My number 9 is Red, White, and Royal Blue, which came out on Amazon, and it is a romantic comedy because my brand.
Yes.
It's directed by Matthew Lopez, screenplay by Ted Malawar. The script is based on the 2019 novel the same name, which is wildly popular on like Book Talk and like Romance Talk.
It is indeed.
It stars Taylor Zakhar Perez and Nicholas Galitzine, thank you. And it is about the love affair between the son of the president of the United States, played by Uma Thurman, and a British prince. Yeah. So it's delightful. It's adorable. I haven't read the book, so I didn't know the details, and I didn't want to read the book beforehand because it was too late anyway. Like the movie was coming out, and I was going to see it with my friend, or like I was going to my friend's house to see it that week. But it's like wildly charming. My friend said the plot is just different enough from the book that like I could read the book and have a good time still. I love a romantic comedy, and it was nice seeing like for a romantic comedy, like a sort of big budget one put out by like a big streamer that was featuring gay people. And one of the central characters was also hot AF. And I was like, yes, you're fun to look at.
Your brand.
Yes. So I was like, yes. Yeah, it was really good. It was adorable, delightful. Everybody in it was charming. Uma Thurman was a surprise. I was like, what are you doing here? She played the president. It was just a good time. And I remembered that I watched it because I was like, what did I watch? And I think this came out in like March, like early in the year. So it was like springtime.
It came out
romance, I think.
It came out like in early summer, I think.
Actually, let me look. You're probably right.
Because there are like 2 things about this movie that I know. Because the funniest thing to me about this movie is that Nicholas Galitzine went from playing a bottom in Red, White, and Royal Blue to playing the most annoying straight man possible in Bottoms.
Yes, he was a bottom in that movie.
And then also shout out to Ellie Bamber, who is also in this movie. She plays Laura Dannon on Willow, and I love her.
Nice.
Yeah, you're right. It came out in July. I don't know why I thought March. Whoops.
I knew it came out in the summer because it was right before Bottoms came out. It was like a really quick jump between those 2 movies for Nicholas Galitzine.
Yeah,
Jimmy is a Bottoms enthusiast, so he knows her bottoms.
I mean, who isn't?
I'm
a Bottoms enthusiast as well. It's delightful.
Oh man.
Yeah.
And with that being said, hey
Cassie,
what's your number 9?
My number 9 is the Super Mario movie.
Woo!
Hey.
Are we skipping again?
Yeah,
No.
skip.
You have been skipped again.
Yay.
All right, guys. So my number 9 is Godzilla -1. Godzilla -1, directed and written by Takashi Yamazaki, and it stars Rinosuke Kamiki, Minami Hamabe, Sakura Ando, Kuranasuke Sasaki, Hidetaka Yoshioka, and Munetake Aoki. So, feeling as if he unfairly cheated death too many times, Shikishima, a surviving kamikaze pilot, is attacked on Odo Island along with many warplane engineers by a gargantuan monster. After the engineers die due to Shikishima failing to distract the monster, an overwhelming amount of guilt weighs on him, especially after a homeless woman and a baby move into his home when he returns. Shikishima, now on a personal mission, teams up with a large group of veterans to finally take down the monster known as Godzilla. Fantastic movie.
It's so
Godzilla's really mean and bad in this one.
Yes, because that's what I feel like. I haven't watched a lot of Japanese. In fact, I've only seen one Japanese Godzilla film, and this is the one. But from what I hear about Godzilla movies that are made by Japan, Godzilla's typically the bad guy. I feel like only Americans try to make him our friend.
Well, it's
Americans
weird
have
because
an
it
anti-hero.
started out that way.
Oh, but then there's
And
the wider
then-
universe of monsters.
Yeah, so you bring in other monsters, and in that situation, you bring in someone worse than who we were dealing with. It's the devil you know, because Godzilla, they look at the Godzilla almost like the god means something. Like it's this being that is kind of, above us, malevolent most of the time. But when another monster comes in, Godzilla becomes the quote unquote good guy to fight them.
Because he's territorial.
Right. But
he's still the bad guy, though.
yeah, ain't no other monsters in here. Godzilla is tearing up shop.
For some reason in the American movies, though, we'd be like, oh no, but he's our friend. He's
he
just
friend?
misunderstood. No, guys, that's a dinosaur. Leave him alone.
I think Americans love an anti-hero.
If you're like, yo, him and King Kong, they're friends, man. It's like, bro, y'all, do y'all know the history? Never mind. Anyway,
I've literally only seen the original King Kong, and yeah, or not King Kong, sorry, the original Japanese Godzilla, like
1950.
Yeah, because it's on Max.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, this movie is super, super good. I went into
Really
this
good.
movie not anticipating being as emotionally invested as I ended up becoming.
Mhm.
My younger brother really wanted to see it. He's a huge Godzilla fan, and so I was like, sure, I'll take you to go see it. Fine, I hear that it's a good movie. Was not expecting it to be as good as it freaking is. It's such a great story. Like, this is just a drama, but Godzilla happens to be in
Exactly.
Question mark, what year does it take place?
it. After World War II.
Oh, okay.
So 40
So-
something.
46?
Yeah, Victory Japan was like July of 44.
And technically,
45.
it starts in the midst of World War II,
Mhm.
because a big thing with Godzilla is that he's kind of made more powerful by the nuclear bomb.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It makes him radioactive.
Yeah.
It's kind of a Godzilla origin story and a drama.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
people are calling it the sequel to Oppenheimer.
Yes, I have seen that a lot.
Oh, wow. Wow.
It's a really good movie. I mean, there are moments that I find to be a little predictable, but that's just because I know storytelling and I know how stories typically work.
Mhm.
But even like those moments still feel so triumphant and so good. The acting is phenomenal. The characters are great. I love all of these characters so much, and their dynamics with each other and their relationships. There's so much great character arc work in this movie.
Yeah.
It's just done so well across the board. And I was so reactive while watching this movie. Like, there were periods where I was gasping. I covered my mouth at one point because I was like, I can't believe you guys just did that. Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
Like, I was
Yeah,
so...
they really went off with this one.
They
Like,
did.
The story hits in a way that if Godzilla
But
wasn't
like the
here,
baby
like,
doesn't die, right?
No, the baby's fine.
what?
Okay, that's all I need to know. I can watch this
No,
movie
the
now.
baby is okay. The baby is safe.
I can watch this movie now.
You can watch it.
as a mother.
But just like, there's a particular scene and I was distraught. I was like, I can't believe you guys did this. How do we have a happy ending after this?
Oh.
I was, oh my gosh.
And just like the relationship, like you said, between Noriko and Koichi,
So good.
it's platonic for a while in a way that feels really nice and refreshing.
But
Mhm.
also so romantic.
Yeah,
Like, you know it's getting there, but they're not there yet.
Yeah, but you're gonna love it. But like, there's
I love it.
because they do time skips
Mhm.
in their
Oh,
And they
relationship.
do the time skips very well.
And there's one when she's been there for a while. I was starting to wonder what is the dynamic here.
Mhm.
But when she's like, "Oh, I should go. How are you ever gonna find a wife?" I was like,
Aw, that was her being
"Oh,
like,
right, you guys aren't together. You live together."
Yeah.
Oh,
But you're
but
not together.
roommates.
But
Yeah, y'all are
also
roommates.
His homies, who are also his coworkers, who are like, "Boy, you ain't wiped her up yet. What's wrong with
But
you?"
she's like, "Oh no, I'm not a wife." They're looking at him like, "What's the deal? What's going on over here?
Because I got
Whose
a
baby is this?
Whose baby is this?
Whose kid is that?"
Oh, imagine. No, it's my kid, but like we're not, it's just
And
we're just roommates.
Koichi is so like matter of fact about
Yes.
that whole situation. Every time someone,
Even
so
to
this
the
is
baby.
your baby? No, like
Even to
is
the
this her? But no,
No.
it's like
Wait, it's not her baby either?
No.
She just adopted a baby.
in a way of speaking.
They
But,
tell
like,
you how it
Kind
happens.
of found it, and
No, that's not what happens.
I mean,
But when the kids start talking, he's like, "I'm not your dad."
That was so harsh.
Like, and all his friends are like, "Hey, man, what are you doing?" Don't tell the kid that.
Right?
Like, this ain't my baby. But
It's such a good
it's
movie.
just like this whole
So
family
the three
story.
of them are roommates.
Yes. This baby, this woman, and this man are all roommates. But the Godzilla stuff in it
It's great.
is so good. Godzilla looks great. Godzilla is one of those things, kind of like Mario and Sonic and Mortal Kombat, that I'm not the biggest fan of, but I know enough and I'm interested enough that I can get hyped when I watch the movie. So every time Godzilla charges up,
Oh, his charger was
And-
so cool in this movie.
in this movie, it's like the best one I've seen because the way that it hits every time, it
It's
has that
impactful.
impact.
Mhm.
Yeah, like when you see like a nuclear bomb in a movie
It builds.
where everything goes silent.
Yeah, their
and you just
method
see-
of doing it is it's tense.
Yeah.
Like, they create a physical way of building tension to see it on screen, and it's so good.
Man.
Does this movie even have a happy ending? And how
It
many
does,
time
actually.
jumps are? Like how much time goes by?
Only a couple of time jumps, not a lot.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
not like, oh, the baby's a baby and now she's grown.
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought it was gonna be.
But
No,
It's
just very
just-
small time jump.
Oh, okay.
man, I was in my feelings like the whole last 5 minutes of this movie. I was like almost crying.
I was in my feelings the whole movie.
When he pulls up in the plane and they're like, Shikishima, I was like, oh my God. I was like, oh my God, they care so much about him.
Oh no.
Everything about this movie is so good.
And I wish I could remember all the characters because I know there's Doc.
Yeah.
And the other dude who's not the young one who hangs out with Doc.
Yeah.
But he's like, if you make that baby an orphan, he's like, boy, I will never forget you.
Oh. He was like, I will bring you back to kill you.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah. I think also what I love about this film is that like, I talked about it. It's basically a drama, but like Godzilla is there. It works really, really well in that way. Like, I wish we would do that because I watch the American Godzilla movies and it's like we've talked about these movies before, like the American ones.
Wasn't the common criticism about, was it 2014?
2014, yeah.
Wasn't the common criticism about that there wasn't enough Godzilla and that it was too focused on the humans?
Well, they weren't interesting humans.
Yeah,
except Bryan Cranston, who was wildly traumatized and amazing.
Story here and put Godzilla in there as part of the setting and part of the plot. But that movie was honestly marketed as, "Hey, look, Godzilla. Hey, look, Bryan Cranston." Took him out immediately. Yeah. And then we're here with Kick-Ass, who great actor, I love him.
Yeah. And Elizabeth Olsen,
who went on to play twins. Is not. Yeah, that was weird. It's not to the level of this story. Like they don't do anything in that movie that make us invested in.
I say this as humans. Somebody who would have argued before seeing -1 that 2014 Godzilla is my favorite of the Godzilla films that have come out in recent years.
And one thing I like that you say about it is the way that they do the scale.
Yes, like, the scale of that movie.
And that's
beautiful.
One thing that this movie does really well because.
And this is one of the smaller Godzillas too.
Yeah, and
according to my younger brother.
I love that he knows their sizes.
But yeah, this one they show that scale in a different way because the 2014 one is still, hey, Godzilla's the good guy. So as big as Godzilla and terrifying Godzilla is, we need to worry about this like moth. I don't want to say moth because it's not Mothra.
Yeah, it's not.
And when I saw it the first time, I thought it might be Mothra.
Good, right?
Mothra is an actual moth. This thing is like a different Zubat looking thing. The Muto is what they call it.
Yeah, that's right. The Mutos.
This one is, look at the scale, and also Godzilla is wrecking shop.
Look at the destruction.
Yeah, but also they did the original theme, and it hit me in a way I didn't expect it to because I was like, oh my God, I forgot how much I like this theme.
Yeah. Oh. We've watched the American one. We need to stop talking about this movie, but we're talking about we didn't get to review it, but we talk about the recent American Godzilla films that we've watched and we've reviewed them on the channel. And we have, the common complaint from us has been, I don't care about these humans. I just want to see the monsters fight.
Right.
Big monkey, big lizard, fight. Yeah. And like, this movie is not that. It is, and that's what makes it a great movie. Yeah. So I'm like, I wish we had that, like the compelling human drama that also happens to have a big monster fight going around.
That's low-key what the first one was. The original?
Well, yeah, this one, I've heard a lot of people who are Godzilla fans say that this one, it's almost a tribute to, because it's a like 100th anniversary or something movie. It's a celebration of an anniversary for Godzilla.
I think
so. It's almost.
I don't know what year they're at. Not 100 yet, but it's been a long time.
It's been a long time. So
probably 60 or 70 years, because I think the first one came out in like the 50s.
Yeah.
So they
in color.
Oh, that's right. Because you're right. It should be like 70 something because Godzilla is a commentary on the nuclear bomb attack.
Yeah. So the
character itself is a commentary on that. But
1954.
There we go. This movie is kind of like a tribute to that. Like it's taking it back to its roots. So, and that's actually probably why I think the Japanese make better Godzilla movies than we do based on this one film.
It's theirs. Like,
yeah.
Defer to the experts. It's their thing.
Yeah.
But
like they know what
they're great. -1 is fantastic. It's as good as everyone said it was, which
it's crazy.
How far into it do you see him? Because like in the first...
No, he's in the first 10 minutes.
Oh, okay. Because in the original, like you don't see him right away. Like they show his attacks, they show the aftermaths,
right?
And they show people like being like, "Where's my family?" Like I heard there was an attack, and like
no, they're like, "We're just showing you." Let's
the
go.
First scene, Godzilla's
first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
All right.
He's causing
him right away. Okay.
That's the setup. That's my number 9, Godzilla -1. It was a fantastic movie. If you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend it. Even if you don't like monster movies, it's just a good drama.
Yeah.
Ugh, gotta see it now.
And that takes us to our number 8, Dallas.
We are circling back to me. My number 8 was my number 4 most anticipated movie of 2023, Operation Fortune, Ruse de Guerre.
That counted as last year?
I did. Came out last year.
Oh no!
Yeah,
sorry.
It came out in 2023.
Thomas Construct. Anyway, the movie is directed by Guy Ritchie. Gabby, it seems very upset that she forgot about it. Maybe you saw 12 movies this year.
Yeah,
let's talk about it.
It's looking like 12.
I use my Letterboxd the same way that Dallas uses Serialized because I can tell you how many movies I watched this year based off of my diary entries. So
Yeah,
Same. I use Letterboxd the same way.
I usually do also use Letterboxd, but this year I don't know what the heck and Bob happened to me that I didn't like just do that with my movies, because that's how I usually make my list, is like I keep track on Letterboxd, and then the top 10, that's my top 10. Easy, but I was
Easy
a mess
work.
this
That's
year.
how I did it.
Oof.
Anyway, this movie is directed by Guy Ritchie. It's written by Guy Ritchie, Ivan Atkinson, and Marn Davies, and stars Jason Statham, Aubrey Plaza. Jason. Let's call him Jason. Aubrey Plaza, Josh Hartnett, Carrie Elwes, Bugsy Malone, and Hugh Grant. Summary is: Special Agent Orson Fortune and his team of operatives recruit one of Hollywood's biggest movie stars to help them on an undercover mission when the sale of a deadly new weapons technology threatens to disrupt the world order. That is one long sentence. Yep. I wish they didn't write it like that. Man, I love this movie.
It's so good.
It's so good.
It's delightful.
When I saw the trailer, I was like, this is for me.
Dude.
I love me a good Guy Ritchie.
Aubrey Plaza.
Aubrey Plaza. Like, so much about this movie is just, I love it. They did a series of these. I would 100% watch all of them. The line delivery, what are you going to do with that?
I'm going to shoot him, Danny. Like, it's perfect.
It says a lot because Aubrey Plaza is so awesome, but this might be my favorite performance of hers because she gets to be weird Aubrey Plaza. She gets to be the straight man, so to speak. Like, she gets to do so much. Just the dynamic of the whole team is great. Jatham, as I decided to call him. His character is that I'm good at this, but I don't always do everything the best. And Aubrey calls him out on that constantly. And I love it. Bugsy Malone is in it. He doesn't get enough lines from me.
He never does. He never does.
But I think I'm going to say shout out to Guy Ritchie because as far as I know on IMDb or Wikipedia, Bugsy Malone's only two movies are The Gentleman and Operation Fortune. So shout out to Guy Ritchie just, continuing his movie career because he's great.
Yeah.
Carrie Elwes as the I'm So Tired of Y'all was fantastic.
But also, he's low-key Despero.
Yeah.
It's giving Despero energy from his character from Psych.
Basically, Despero. And I love it. Hugh Grant playing a scumbag again. We love to see it.
Yes, love to see it. He's in his scumbag era. He's such a dick.
In his scumbag era.
He's such a dick, and I hate him with so much love. He's so
hateable, but he's also really funny.
Yes, he's doing great.
Yeah. The action is great. The comedy is great. Like, the awkward Aubrey Plaza vibes are great. Like, I don't know how to feel about you. Man, confusing feelings. But yeah, it's a great movie. Yeah. And after, I think Wrath of Man was a couple years ago, and that really disappointed me. So I was so happy to see Guy Ritchie get back in his bag.
Also, like, Jason Statham playing any, like, comic relief, even if it's just, like, a little... Like, I know he was kind of serious, but it was also... He was funny, like...
Yeah. They switch off being the comic relief, and I love that team dynamic because you can all be funny, and you can all be badass, and you can all be just tired of the rest of your team.
Yeah. But there was a little bit of a lived-in quality to some parts of the team. Like, I know Aubrey's character was new to it, but, like, the other characters... They were like, we've been working together for a while.
Yeah. And last thing I'll say, we get Josh Hartnett doing a Hugh Grant impression.
Yo.
It's amazing.
Josh Hartnett in this was delightful too.
I love Josh Hartnett ever since Lucky Number 11.
Like, I know people were like, oh my God, he's back because of Oppenheimer. But to me, I was like, oh my God, he's back because of Operation Fortune.
Yeah, same. Love it. Great movie. It's the cinema. And that's my number 8.
Nice.
Gabby, what's yours?
Okay. Really quick. My number 8 was Guardians of the Galaxy Part 3.
Skip.
Ooh, skip.
Oh, okay, cool.
Double skip.
Ooh, I will take that skip.
Cassie, what's your number 8?
Okay. So, Dallas, shut up. My
allegations.
My number 8.
Let's talk about it.
Is No One Will Save You, and
that sounds
directed by Brian Duffield, written by Brian Duffield, and stars Caitlin Dever and other people. But it's all about her. There are 5 words of dialogue in this entire movie, and I think she says all of them. I don't know. I'm not going to read a summary, but basically, alien invasion. This young woman is like an outcast, and her house is getting invaded by aliens, and no one will help her. That's the title of the movie.
I think I've heard of this one.
It's giving Hush. It's giving, that.
I haven't seen Hush, so I can't, I think that one is just like a home invasion, though, yeah?
Yeah, but she's deaf.
This is like multiple aliens and shit.
Which is horrifying.
It slaps. I mean, it's always fun when one person basically has to not even carry an entire movie, like ease the entire movie, because that's a lot of effort. And, it's like an hour and a half, hour 45, but still, right? And especially with no dialogue. She says like one line of dialogue, that's it. And the rest of it is silent. So I might want to read this script. It's cool. But yeah, it's just like, hey, aliens are attacking my house. I tried to get people to help me. Nobody wants to help me. You find out why. There's a reason everyone hates her. But it's just like...
Is it a good reason?
I don't think it's fair for the entire town to hate her forever for what happened, but they do, so whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just like, how is she going to fight these aliens? How is she going to survive these aliens when no one's going to help her? I mean, that's the fun of it, right? Like what she figures out to do, like, oh, this works or whatever. And it also, like, it was one of those movies where I didn't understand the ending, and then when I saw an explanation, I was like, oh, that's actually really, really cool. So I would recommend it if you like,
horror movies
about aliens, people fighting aliens. Shut up, Dallas.
You like horror movies, don't you, Squidward?
It's a good movie. And it's streaming on Hulu, so if you have that, you can just go watch it.
Nice.
All right, guys, my number 8 is Elemental, which is directed by Peter Sohn, written by John Hoberg, Kat Lickle, and Brenda Shue.
Oh my God.
And it stars Leah Lewis, Mamadou Athie, Ronnie Del Carmen, Sheila Omi, and Wendy McClendon Covey. And the IMDb synopsis is: the film journeys alongside an unlikely pair, Ember and Wade, in a city where fire, water, land, and air residents live together. The fiery young woman and the go-with-the-flow guy are about to discover something elemental, how much they actually have in common. I was not super excited about this movie before it came out. Like, I was just like, it looks like it'll probably be good. I'll check it out because I like Pixar movies. And then it became like one of my favorite rom-coms that I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it's like interracial love. Also, turns out I saw 13 movies this year, and that would have been my top 10. The last two would have made the Dallas one and yours to me would have made my top 10.
Because Elemental is wonderful. It's so sweet and wholesome. And both Ember and Wade are my type for very different reasons.
Interesting.
Wade is absolutely movie boyfriend of the year. He's amazing. He's a soft boy, and we love a good, sweet, soft boy who isn't afraid to express his emotions.
Yep.
And is constantly supporting his woman no matter what.
I know. He was so supportive.
He's so supportive every single time.
He was like, look at this beautiful thing you created. And she's like, it's just glass. It's not just glass. Oh.
Their love story is beautiful, but like their love story is like, like you've seen a rom-com, you kind of know what to expect out of the love story. So like, but it's so well done. They do all the tropes really, really well. But on top of that, though, I think what really made it super good for me, like a great movie, and I'm glad that it finally found its audience after it came out and actually became pretty successful, it just was a slow burn, was the immigrant story that's actually in there that made the movie so much better that nobody really knew was going to happen. It's so well written and it feels very authentic. I'm not the child of an immigrant. I don't actually have that experience, but I felt like this movie did a great job of portraying that experience, and I just thought the whole thing was beautiful. I loved the animation. I love anything to do with element-based storytelling. It made me happy. This was a movie that after I saw it once, I was like, I need to find a reason to go see it again. Let me go invite other people to go with me to go see it for a second time, because I really want people to see this movie. And it has one of my favorite soundtrack songs of the year in it, Steal the Show by Lauv. Don't know how to pronounce the name, but that song, so good, has been on my playlist ever since that movie came out. So Elemental, if you have not seen it, please watch it. It's so cute. It's a great rom-com. It's a great immigrant story.
It is.
And it's on Disney Plus. And I want more people to talk about it because it's wonderful.
Yeah, it's so
And I thought the voice acting was also phenomenal, especially from Leah Lewis and Mamadou Athie.
Yeah. And the immigrant story is very accurate as a child of immigrants. And like the need to want to take care of your parents and them not necessarily wanting to let you.
But also like feeling like you owe your parents because they sacrifice so much so that you could have a great future.
Yeah.
But also having to find that balance of living for yourself as well. Like it's so good. The whole thing is so good.
100%. Yeah.
If it was just the love story, it would be real basic. But because it has the immigrant story in there, it's super good because that really is tangled into the love story as well.
Yeah. And also like immigrant parents not necessarily accepting you dating outside your culture. There's a lot of levels. Low key, like interracial dating. It's levels. It's good.
It's so good. If you haven't seen it, watch it.
Gabby loves dating outside her culture.
I date exclusively outside my culture. Not on purpose.
Oh my goodness.
Not on purpose. That just happens.
That takes us to number 7. Dallas, what's your number 7?
Once you go black. My number 7 is Sorry, I wanted to see what Gabby's face would be. It did not disappoint. Number 7 is Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves.
Skip.
Which was okay. We're getting skipped. Also, it was an honorable mention of mine.
Nice.
Cool. Moving on.
My number 7 is Super Mario Brothers.
Hey.
Are we talking about it? Yo, we're talking about it. This is so cute. Let's do the credentials first.
Yeah, I like that. Credentials.
Sorry. Credits. Sorry.
Credentials. Whatever. We know what you mean. I'm going to do them while Gabby shushes her dog. It is directed by Aaron Horvath and Michael Jelenic and is written by Matthew Fogel. It stars Chris Pratt, Anya Taylor-Joy, Charlie Day, Jack Black, Keegan-Michael Key, Seth Rogen, and Fred Armisen. Summary is, a plumber named Mario travels through an underground labyrinth with his brother Luigi, trying to save a captured princess. Ain't that the story? So, I love this movie. It's so much more than I expected to.
It's so good. All the references. Oh.
Wow, they did it in such a way that it's not only for me a really good adaptation, but also a really good movie.
Yes.
And I love when those, like, bam, smack each other right there in the middle. I remember seeing the trailer and I was like, oh, this looks way better than I expected it to. And then seeing the movie, it's like, oh, this was way better than I expected it to be.
I didn't see the trailer or anything. I just was like, Dallas said it's good, so I'll watch it. And then I waited too long and it was on streaming and we watched it like a few days ago. And it made my top 10 / my
nice.
only 10.
It's not your
but
only
also
10.
turns
You're
out
discovering
13.
You watched other movies.
Yeah.
Turns out you watched other movies and forgot.
Yep. Oh, so good. So funny.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't recognize Chris Pratt's voice, which is as somebody that, like, obviously I like Guardians of the Galaxy. I know him, who he is. I love Parks and Rec. It was wild to me that I was like, can't tell it's him.
Yeah. I expected it to just be like, oh, Star-Lord. But no.
Yeah.
Sounded like a different man, an Italian-American man.
Yeah, he put in work. Anya Taylor-Joy, great.
This was one of the first movies that really got me into Anya Taylor-Joy. The first one was actually The Menu. I think this was probably like the second movie that I'd seen that I was like, oh, I really like Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah, she's delightful in this. Jack Black, I feel like, was the star, ? Like, he put in...
He was 100%
He's
the
the
star
scene
for me.
stealer.
Yeah, that's what it is. Scene stealer.
Yeah, as far as performances go, on point.
Also, I didn't expect Peaches to be that early in the movie. I thought he was going to, like, capture her, and then he was going to sing it to her. I didn't realize he was pining, which I thought was delightful. I loved it so much. Also,
It's so great.
Also, while we were watching it, I was like, oh, Bowser's a turtle. Hadn't made the connection in 30 years of, like, playing Mario.
Well, you know, it spikes and stuff.
He didn't look like a turtle, but all right. The other turtles looked like turtles. He looks like a dragon.
He does kind of look like a dragon. Yeah.
Yeah, he looks like a dragon with a shell.
He breathes fire and everything.
Yeah.
Dragon turtle. Cassie, you've been quiet, but you are our gamer girly. So what do you think of this movie? It's also on your list.
Well, it's fun. I mean, part of the reason I've been quiet is because my opinion on it is basically take Chris Pratt out of it, and it's a really good movie. I think he drags it down tremendously because his voice fucking sucks as Mario. But
creative differences, guys. Creative differences.
Yeah. But it was fun. I felt like it was a good way of, because how do you adapt Mario when the Mario games don't really have like a through line narrative? Each story is just like, gotta go get Peach. She's somewhere. Who got her?
Yeah.
Probably Bowser. Who knows? You know.
Is she in another castle? Probably.
Pretty much, yeah. I thought they gave it a pretty good. It adapted it well. I thought that worked really well. I'm glad that it did well because I'm interested to see, like, is Luigi gonna are they gonna do like Luigi's Mansion? That'd be fun. I'd be down.
Right.
Like, where is this going to go? I'm so interested to know, like, where else are they going to go with this? Because we end up, 5 years down the road with like a Mario tennis movie. I'll watch it.
Or Mario Party.
I need to know.
Mario Golf.
Mario Kart. I feel like that one's going to happen.
I'm actually watching a Mario Party movie.
That would be fun.
That's legit my favorite Mario game. I'm watching
or
that
Super
one.
Smash Brothers. Like,
to be
Mario
fair, I mean, I've already watched this movie. To be clear here, I made it sound like I haven't seen this movie. I have.
If this long game turns into a Super Smash movie, I'm down. Let's go.
I'm 100% down.
It was low key. We had a little Super Smash moment. It was great.
And that's the thing. Yeah. This movie gives you, there's a little bit of Luigi's Mansion vibes when he gets to the spooky place. We get Mario Kart Rainbow Road.
Oh, dude.
We get some Super Smash with the Donkey Kong scene.
I want to talk about Rainbow Road really quick. So my boyfriend goes, man, if we don't get the shortcut, and they did the shortcut. Like,
they did it justice in so many ways.
Yeah.
They did everything.
Yeah.
That, as far as adaptations go, like, when he goes down and they work into the score, the no. Like,
you could tell that the people that made this movie are fans of the games.
Yeah, and they care.
And that's the thing is that, like, I feel like that, everybody who adapts something says that, like, oh, we're big fans of this and we want to do it justice. And then you watch the movie and it's like, well, he didn't. This one, they actually, like, no, they actually cared.
Yeah. Or, like, usually when they say that, oh, yeah, I'm a fan, but it turns out to be very superficial versus this, like, they knew their stuff. Like, they threw in a shortcut. Like, yeah. And, like, my boyfriend was saying it, they veered off to the shortcut, which was, like,
they did it.
It was an amazing moment.
But yeah, so many. And like Cassie said, with a game like this, you have to make certain choices. You're going to have to choose how we characterize these characters, like what we do and what we do. Sorry. So making Donkey Kong like a douchey frat kid
works.
Making Bowser just Jack Black, to be honest.
But like Jack Black did a good voice for it though, so like you could have forgotten.
Yeah, like but voice-wise, he did his thing. He put on a performance, but the way he acts is a Jack Black character. 100%. It's fantastic. And Charlie Day, love him as Luigi, and I love the brotherly loyalty. One of the lines, Taylor's favorite line in the movie, is when Bowser snatches up Luigi and is asking him about Mario, and he says, "Do princesses find him attractive?" And Luigi says, "They do if they have a good taste."
Oh, speaking of,
just love it.
Speaking of Luigi being captured, that was it a star? Was it a drop? I don't know what that was.
It's like a star, Lumi something.
A Luma. It might be. It might be one of the Lumas. I think that's what they're called. Anyway.
That was my favorite part of the movie. It was hilarious. Utterly.
Oh, they're really depressed star?
Yeah.
Also, what I was delighted by is they got a small child to say those messed up things. Like
sweet death.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Fantastic.
Amazing. Such a
Can't
good movie.
Can't wait for the sequel.
So magical. I will watch all the sequels. Maybe. We'll see. But this was delightful.
Smash Brothers.
Yeah. This is delightful.
Yeah. Love it. Whose was that? Where were we?
That was mine.
That was Gabby. So, yeah, Cassie, what's your number 7?
My number 7, I assume, is going to get skipped because my number 7 is Barbie.
Skip.
Yep.
So that takes us to my number 7, and I know it's getting skipped. My number 7 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Skip.
Which takes us to number 6.
It takes us to number 6. My number 6 it was not on my most anticipated for this year because I don't know if I knew about it or if I forgot. They Clone Tyrone. It's my number 6.
Yes, let's talk about it.
That's a good movie.
I love this movie
amazing.
So much.
Just watched it recently, as a matter of fact.
So I rewatched everything I could on this list recently so I could be prepared for this. They Clone Tyrone is directed by Jewel Taylor and written by Jewel Taylor and Tony Rettenmeyer. Stars John Boyega, Teyonah Parris, and Jamie Foxx. Summary is they clone the niggas. I'm just kidding. Kinda. A series of eerie events thrust an unlikely trio onto the trail of a nefarious government conspiracy in this pulpy mystery caper.
Teyonah Parris had quite the year.
She did. And
because time is a construct, I'm just going to say that she should have been on my actors list.
She's so good. I didn't know what to expect with this movie. I was worried.
I remember.
Yeah, I saw the trailer and I thought, oh, what are we doing here, guys? And they nailed it. Like, it's as funny as I expected. I knew it was going to be funny. The acting is fantastic because of the cast that I just listed. They have moments that hit you in a way that I wasn't expecting to. Just a whole lot of John Boyega's performances really hit. And I thought, oh, this is serious. I thought this was the funny They Cloning Niggas movie. And it is.
And
but it's more than that. It's so good. All the acting is fantastic. Jamie Foxx and Teyonah Parris going back and forth. Like, their chemistry is amazing. John Boyega, I think he was almost on my actors list. He was on it for a while because of this movie, and a bunch of stuff just came out. I just love so much about it. And also, the catharsis that you get, there's like, the big going into the final battle scene that a lot of movies have. And this one, with just a bunch of hood niggas rolling down the street ready to go to war with the corrupt, it's so good. It's so great. It's so black. And it's everything I wanted it to be. And nothing that I was afraid it would be, which is great and very important to me. I love it so much.
Yeah, I recently did, because me and you, and I think it was just me and you, to be honest, because we did a double feature of Undercover Brother and They Clone Tyrone. And there were other people there for Undercover Brother, but then most of them left before we even got into They Clone Tyrone.
Yeah.
I recently did that same double feature with my brother, who I grew up watching Undercover Brother with, and it was just so much fun to show him They Clone Tyrone for the first time, because when the movie ended, he was like, yeah, that's like, that movie is like what Undercover Brother would be like if the man was doing stuff today. Like that's what that's what They Clone Tyrone is.
It is very much, if Undercover Brother came out today in like the climate that we have now and the way that we make movies now, this is
it's like a spiritual sequel almost.
Yeah.
So if you loved Undercover Brother as much as we do, then like you'll probably love this movie.
So good. It's just it's on my list of, I don't know if I could ever recommend it to white people, but for us.
Gabby, you're number 6.
My number 6 is The Hunger Games: The Ballad of Songbird and Snakes.
Yes. So glad somebody put it on their list.
Am I getting skipped?
No.
Okay, it's on me. Alrighty. The Hunger Games: The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is a 2023 American musical dystopian action film directed by Francis Lawrence, who directed the first Hunger Games.
No. He directed Catching Fire and the Mockingjay movies. He did not direct The Hunger Games.
Oh, just kidding. You are.
Hunger Games was done by Gary Ross.
Yes, you're right. My apologies to Gary Ross. He directed the other ones though. And it stars Tom Blythe, Rachel Zegler, Peter Dinklage, Jason Schwartzman, Hunter Schafer, Josh Andres Rivera, and Viola Davis. Gosh, was this movie way better than I thought it was going to be. I found myself upset that it was over. I found myself upset that we don't know what happened to Lucy Gray. It's not that I don't want to know more about Snow, but also I said this when we reviewed it. I love that they don't make him sympathetic. They give him chances to be good and he's not good. And I love it. I still hated him at the end. And I was like, good job, movie. That's why it's so high on my list.
I just want to once again share my love for Rachel Zegler. She's so very talented. She's a great actress, a phenomenal singer. And with all the recent hatred that she's been getting over the past few months, I just really want to like amplify that love because the hatred has not been fair at all.
Yeah,
but she's wonderful.
She's amazing
in this movie.
Love her.
Yeah. She's done a different accent every single movie that she's been in, and it's crazy.
I don't know what she sounds like. Love it. That's not true. I do know by now. I've watched interviews by now. But wow,
I think she sounds like what she sounds like in Shazam. But yeah, she's had a different accent for each of the big movies that she's done. It's a great movie. I think they did a fantastic job adapting it. I wish that the third part of the movie, I wish that this was 2 movies so that the third part of the movie could actually be expanded and so that you could see more of what was happening, because I feel like you miss a lot of the nuance and the small details in that third part because so much has to be cut from it. But otherwise, I think it's a really good adaptation, just like the rest of the Hunger Games movies are. And I think it's a great addition to the movie series.
I agree.
Pretty dope. It's pretty dope. Also, shout out Jason Schwartzman, who freaking Lucky Flickerman highlighted the movie for me. He was so freaking great.
He did a good job. Yeah.
And Viola Davis is phenomenal as Dr. Gall.
Yeah. Oh my God.
She's the real highlight of the movie for me.
She was terrifying in a great way. Just a mad scientist. Love it. And whoever did her costumes, 10 out of 10. That red dress creeped me out.
That Sue outfit she had.
So good.
Oh,
banging on everybody.
Dallas.
I feel like the Hunger Games team always brings their A game to this universe whenever it's time to do a new movie.
Yes.
All right, Cass, what's your number 6?
You said, what's Bracken Borealanus?
Wow.
Cass, what's your number 6?
That's really good. Really good. Oh, wait, also, shout out to Hunter Schafer, because Hunter Schafer is also amazing as Tigress, and I feel like she's not enough, but she's wonderful.
Oh, she did a great job.
My number 6 is Nimona. Directed by Nick Bruno and Troy Quayne, written by Robert L. Baird and Lloyd Taylor, based on the graphic novel Nimona by N.D. Stevenson.
I love that graphic novel.
Yeah, it's delightful. Basically, it's kind of the story of this knight who, through events, becomes like an outcast, teaming up with this sort of wilding out shapeshifter who doesn't really know where she fits in with like anybody or anything. Thank God it happened, because this movie was canceled once. And then it got revived, and now it's out. Yeah, it was supposed to be with Blue Sky, and then they closed. So
yeah, because of Disney. Disney bought Fox, and then they canceled like a bunch of Fox's animated movies, including Nimona.
And the Minecraft movie.
Yeah, I could only hope the same thing happens for Willow one day, someday.
Yeah, it's Oh, also it's starring Chloe Grace Moretz and Riz Ahmed and also other people.
One of the Try Guys.
Yeah, Eugene's in it.
Yeah.
And it's just delightful. Like, it's super fun. I mean, Chloe Grace Moretz is doing the most, but is really good at doing the most because Nimona is all over the place at all times. That's kind of the character. It's just so fun and adorable, and the art style is gorgeous. It's just good. It's just good. There's also some gay in it if you're into that. Like, it's very fun. It's very good. You know, I don't think it's like going to change your life, but it is a fun time, and I would highly recommend it.
It might change somebody's life, though. Somebody might be watching that movie and see the animation and decide that they want to be an animator, and that really is a life-changing event.
No, for sure. And also, I think from what I've seen, which makes sense, a lot of trans people have been like, I see myself in this. Because, you know, shapeshifting.
That's good.
That makes sense.
Anyway, it's live.
All right, that takes us to my number 6, which is a tie between Taylor Swift, The Eras Tour, and Beyonce's Renaissance.
That makes sense.
So,
Skip
I
for
guess.
Taylor Swift?
Oh yeah, how does that work? You just talk about the
Beyonce.
one that didn't get skipped?
If you're both skipping me for Taylor Swift, then I'll just talk about Beyonce.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. So, Renaissance, a film by Beyonce, directed by Beyonce, starring Beyonce. The IMDb synopsis is Beyonce in performance at her record-breaking Renaissance World Tour and the creative mastermind behind it. We actually recently, I think that's actually the last review that we actually did. So if you guys want to hear like a longer talk about that film, you guys can go check that out. But I love concert films. For me, and we'll talk about Taylor Swift's concert later in detail, but the reason why I had these two as a tie was because I felt like both of them were very good at what they were each trying to do as a concert film. And Beyonce's is part concert film, part documentary, and both aspects of that are very, very well done. I feel like you get a really good glimpse into Beyonce's life, into the way that she creates her performance, the way that she creates her artistry. And I think that she is so meticulous about everything, and this film is just further proof, not just because you're witnessing the meticulousness in the film, but the film as a film also feels very meticulous in the way that it's been made. She's an amazing performer, one of a kind, nobody else like her, and you see that on screen with her performance. The editors, shout out to them, the way that they've edited together so many different shows to create this one magnificent concert experience for people to enjoy from the comfort of a movie theater and later on, most likely their homes. And I just think that what she's put together here is phenomenal. And I think that even if you don't like Beyonce, it's something that you should check out just to understand what she does and maybe just to gain some more respect for her. If you have no interest in getting respect for her, this isn't going to change your mind, obviously. But I just think it's fascinating all the same. Renaissance, a film by Beyonce, it's tied at number 6 with Taylor Swift, The Eras Tour. And we will discuss that one later. But that takes us to number 5. Top 5, guys.
Top five.
We did it!
All right. My number 5 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Oh, we finally made it.
We made it. It was my number 8 most anticipated, and here we are.
It was on my honorable mentions last year for most anticipated.
Great movie.
It was my number 8. Woo.
Hey, look at that. 8 buddies. Gang, gang. Written and directed by James Gunn, starring Chris Pratt, Joey Saldana, David Bautista, Karen Gillan, Pom Clemente, Vin Diesel, Bradley Cooper, Will Poulter, Sean Gunn, Chukwudi Iwuji, and Linda Cardellini.
And Maria Bakalova.
And Maria Bakalova as the good girl, good dog, whatever she called herself.
She's a good dog.
That was adorable.
Summary
Cosmo
is
the space dog.
Yes, we love Cosmo. Still reeling from the loss of Gamora, Peter Quill rallies his team to defend the universe in one of their own, a mission that could mean the end of the Guardians if not successful. This movie, it hurt.
It ruined my life. That's why I wasn't higher. I was like, I can never watch this again.
I can.
So painful. I've watched it a couple of times. But man,
no, thank you.
Man, did it hurt. It's so good and so sad and so it does everything well that I feel like I've come to expect from the Marvel movies. It's quippy. There are some jokes in here that I think are the funniest I've gotten from the Guardians. I am telling Nebula to open that door. But all of it, just the action. Oh, I get to use the Phineas and Ferb quote. If I had a nickel for every Chris Pratt movie that had an action scene set to No Sleep Till Brooklyn of 2023, I'd have 2 nickels.
Right?
Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice.
Yep.
But man, that scene is so dope. It's one of my favorite MCU action scenes. Just the whole team going to work on these gross ass looking aliens with Beastie Boys playing.
Yep.
It's delightful. And the acting is fantastic. Nebula is up there with Jamie Tart and Zuko as one of my favorite redemption arcs.
Yes.
Like the way that
Karen Gillan did that.
Karen Gillan did that. Just like the emotion you can see on her face when she hears Rocket speak toward the end of the movie. And they're like, it's Rocket. And I was like, Karen Gillan.
Everyone
covered in blue.
Yep.
You're still so great.
Yeah, I think that, James Gunn doesn't miss when you throw him a superhero movie. You get him to write and direct one, and it's just like, it's going to be a banger. I already know it. Or a TV show, as we saw with Peacemaker.
Yeah.
Which is, why I'm looking forward to seeing what he does with Superman, especially because Superman is not quite in his wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what he does with the DC universe. And this was a good final chapter for him, for Marvel, after everything that went down with that movie.
What a way to come back.
He brought the Guardians into the MCU, and he made these C-list, D-list characters into A-listers. And we've been rocking with them ever since. And I think all three of these movies, this might be a top MCU trilogy.
Definitely for me.
Yeah.
Definitely one of the best ones.
Yep.
Man, the theme of animal abuse in this film, so good.
Just ruined my life.
I was in the Animal Rights Club in high school.
Yeah, we both were.
And this movie hit different.
He also got apparently PETA's Person of the Year because of this movie.
Wild.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, me either.
It's such a good movie. It's so well written. All the emotional beats hit. I love what they did with Gamora in this movie. There was kind of that fear of maybe they would just try and not quite retcon what happened in Infinity War and in Endgame, but kind of just pretend like it didn't happen. Just let her be the Gamora that we all already know.
Yeah.
Right.
And James Gunn did not take that easy route. He made this a new Gamora entirely, and her relationship with Quill, I think, is just so well done. It made me so happy to see it. It was so well written.
Yeah, but I was also shipping them, so it was like, no.
I was too, but I was like, this is a completely different Gamora with different life experiences. Like, she's not going to be
the way she split for Thanos was different than the way the other one did.
Yeah,
there's memories there that are not.
And I like where she ends up in the movie.
I love that.
And that hurt me a little because it was a little bit no spoilies. So it hurt me a little bit. I think I was hoping that they would find themselves a family again. That I was hoping that she was still with them.
I think it works for me, though, because most of the Gamora comics that I've ever read are not Guardians of the Galaxy. They all are her part of the Infinity Watch. And even though the Infinity Watch is not in the MCU, I've seen her on different teams. So for me, it works. I'm just like, oh, yeah, of course. She's, she
and like we talked about this being a different one, like she has her family.
Yeah.
So it's not like she's just out alone in space.
That's true. And that's
she gets to go back home, which is nice.
I loved her and Nebula's relationship in this movie as well.
The little grunts at each other.
But also just that, the idea that they had kept contact with each other even after Endgame. That's not her Nebula. That's not her Gamora. But, there's still a love there and an appreciation.
A sister to me, basically.
Yeah, you're sister adjacent.
Right.
We have similar memories.
You look like my sister.
Yeah, but, there's still that mutual love and respect for each other. And I really liked that. Chukwudi Iwuji, man.
Terrifying.
Horrifying.
Man.
One of the best
he
MCU
went
villains.
off in a way that makes me very uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah. He was a mad scientist, but terrifying and so cruel.
So
cruel.
Just evil.
Yeah.
And that's, kind of a cheat code. Have somebody torture animals and they're going to be payable. But his performance goes beyond that.
And there's also, the writing is also there. Because we've talked about villains who are just pure evil, but there's nothing there. And I really liked James Gunn playing with this character, with the High Evolutionary's God complex.
Yeah.
It really works so well in this movie. There's another character I want to talk about before we stop, and I can't remember who it was.
Is it the otter? Thelma?
Who?
Linda Cardellini.
Oh, that was so sad. That's not who I was thinking of. That's so depressing. So sad.
I love her so much. And I've always loved Linda Cardellini. Yeah. And there's something about her voice that I get why they cast her. She's very calming and soothing. Yeah,
it's her second MCU character.
Yeah. So it's even though you've already played someone else, we're going to bring you back because you're perfect for this.
It's giving Chris Evans.
Yeah.
Who are you talking
Gemma
about?
Chan.
There.
I cannot think of who I was.
Adam
Warlock.
Adam
Yes.
Warlock. Got
it. My boy Adam Warlock.
Oh, that was a little depressing to me, but
I love him.
He's great.
This is not comic book Adam Warlock at all.
That was my issue. I was like, why did they make him stupid?
Because he's a baby. And it makes
newborn.
sense. He's a newborn. So I hope that one day we will get Adam Warlock back to be the Adam Warlock that we know in the comic books, who's like kind of all wise, but also very almost arrogant in a way.
Yeah, this was very different.
Yeah, so
yeah, I was hoping, well, because Will Poulter got cool and like buff and all that, and I was like, for that,
to be silly, be a silly boy.
He played it so well though, and I loved.
He did. He's a great comedic actor.
Yeah.
I was just as a fan of Adam Warlock.
His serious moments, he played those very well. Also, great movie.
Last thing I'll say is, do you know what's James Gunn's wife's name?
Oh, I do know her name.
Damn it! What is her name?
I'm looking it up now because I feel bad that I don't remember it, but I love her so much.
But she is amazing.
Jennifer Holland.
Thank you.
Who did she play?
She's barely in it. She's one of the people on that. What was that? It was like this.
It was an island. It was a planet made of organs.
The material, the organ.
And she's one of the workers in there. And when she gets popped in the leg, the scream that she lets out. We watched the cinema wins for it a few times. Like every time we see the movie or that video, like Kayla dies at that scream because she went all out for it, and it was so funny.
I love Jennifer Holland. She's so good, and like all you toxic fanboys who like complain whenever James Gunn has her in a movie. Oh, it's so annoying.
He gets to cast whoever he wants, including his wife.
And sometimes
also people always cast their
people,
family and friends in movies
because they know how to work with them. And they like working with them.
And it's not like he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna take you and make you the biggest character." Like he put her in the movie.
He just put her. He just threw her in there.
He's not like, "Oh yeah, she's Wonder Woman now." Like he likes to work with people that he likes, like everyone else in the world.
Yeah, and she's so and like it'd be different if she wasn't talented, but she's so good.
She's funny. She's good at dramatic stuff. Man, fantastic.
Love her. She's not even really in this movie, but had to just talk about how great Jennifer Holland is. All right, that was your number 5. Gabby, what's your number 5?
My number 5 is Dungeons and Dragons.
Hey.
Yeah. Dungeons and Dragons. Honor Among Thieves. Directed by Jonathan Goldstein, John Francis Daly, and with a screenplay by Jonathan Goldstein, John Francis Daly, and Michael Giglio.
I don't know how to say it either.
Giglio? I don't know. It's based off of the Hasbro toy, Dungeons and Dragons. Just kidding, board game. Hasbro
also not a board game.
Sorry, role-playing game.
I love that the D&D players are like, that's not what this is.
Sorry, the Hasbro. Can you tell that I don't play Dungeons and Dragons?
I wouldn't call it a Hasbro property.
Unfortunately, Hasbro owns it.
I mean, it literally is if they own it.
Own it, and mostly that was for the joke of like, wow, Dungeons and Dragons is owned by a giant thing like Hasbro. Yeah, so starring Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez, Reggae John Page, Justice Smith, Sophia Lillis, and Hugh Grant. I forgot Hugh Grant was in this movie.
Back, baby.
Again, in his scumbag area.
Hold up. And my girl Chloe Coleman, because she's amazing.
Yes.
Great in this movie.
And Something Head. What's her name?
Daisy Head.
There we go.
Daisy
Head.
Something Head. What a phrase.
Sorry.
I know, right?
So sorry.
Such a phrase.
Let me tell you why this movie's not my top 5.
Because it's great.
Yeah, I did not expect to be so delighted by a Dungeons and Dragons movie. I thought this was going to be much darker than it was. The hilarious, almost slapstick comedy take that this action adventure, like literally high on the adventure aspect of this movie is so delightful. Wow. It literally blew me away. I think I saw it twice in theaters. Yeah, I did. And I was like, this movie's amazing. Oh my God, I love it.
It's so funny. And when it was announced, I thought, cool cast. I don't know. And I saw the trailer and I thought, I have to see this.
Yeah.
And I love Chris Pine. Demi says that he is the best Chris.
He is the best Chris.
There's a lot of evidence for it. He's fantastic.
He's the Renaissance Chris.
And he's so funny. Just the way the movie starts with that long ass exposition dump. But they knew, hey, we can't just give you a long ass exposition dump. We got to spice this up.
I love
so he just keeps coming back to. So I don't know if you've heard about it, but Jonathan has. It's fine. It's really hard to go back into this without Jonathan. And then the way the payoff of that scene,
dude,
is so ridiculous.
Already knew. My partner already knew because he knew what that race was, and he was like, "Man,
because
are they gonna do what I think they're gonna do? That's a race of birds."
That was so silly.
The payoff was completely worth it, and the best part was also that their parole was approved.
Right. It's so silly, but it's so good, and everyone is cast perfectly. Justice Smith as that no self-esteem having, I can do magic, but kind of barely for the beginning. There's one line he says to Sophia Lillis because he's talking about how he tried to court her. Because first of all, she doesn't remember who he is. And she's like, who? She's like, I tried to court you. You said I made you sad. Not with anything I did, just who I am.
It's so good. It has no business being this good. And I think one of the guys was like that wrote it was Sweets from like.
It is.
Yeah.
He directed it too. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
As well. Yeah. The funny thing about this movie is that it made my honorable mentions. It was almost on my top 10 list. It was on my top 10 for a long time, but I think it was on all of you guys' most anticipated movies last year. It was not on mine, and I was just like. I was nervous.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I was like, as a huge fan of just playing Dungeons and Dragons, I love playing D&D as of like 2020, which is when I started. And I was just like, I've only heard horrible things about the other D&D movies.
Yeah.
And also, I just want you to get it right. And I was also at that point, I had seen The Legend of Vox Machina and seen the way that they adapt D&D kind of playing mechanics into their show without it being like,
obvious.
Yeah.
Like it works. And I was just so scared. I was like, what if this movie can't live up to that? Like, dude, Vox Machina did the thing already.
The scene where like one of them clearly passes their like
their skill check
and the other one doesn't.
It was so fun to watch. You talk about the exposition at the beginning of the movie, and it's just like, oh, this is like when your player has to introduce like their character that they're playing. Just scenes with like little items that you can find within the actual game of Dungeons and Dragons, or just seeing the map of all the places that they were trying to get to. And I was just like, I've been to that place. I've been to that place. I've been to that place.
Oh, so they're real places in like
there is a world that they have a world. D&D takes place in Faerun, I believe.
Ooh.
And that's where this movie takes place. And I was like, I saw Neverwinter on the map, and I was like, I've been there. My character's been there. Also, Regé-Jean Page's character literally is just my character's aesthetic. Like, one of my friends came out of the movie and texted me and was like, big Zaire energy. And I was like, I know, that's his whole outfit. That's his hairstyle. That's what he looks like. Like, it was surreal to watch that, except my character Zaire is nothing like that personality wise.
No, but also hilarious. Like,
it was so funny while playing it so straight the whole time.
Oh, it's just like the way people reacted, but it's literally just them reacting to how beautiful Regé-Jean Page is.
But also the way Chris Pine reacts to everything he does.
Also, like when he's walking away and he's like, is he gonna go
around the rock?
Yep.
Just right over it, still walking. Okay, got it.
But also probably my second favorite Michelle Rodriguez character ever, because
she was great.
It's the most Michelle Rodriguez character that she could ever play.
That's why I said everyone is perfectly cast. Yep. She's the most perfectly cast because it's just Michelle Rodriguez.
The random Bradley Cooper cameo in
Fantastic.
there, wild,
amazing.
This movie is amazing. Please watch it.
It's such a good movie.
It's such a good time.
Also, one of the things that I mentioned when we reviewed the movie, you guys can check out our review for more more of us talking about it, but was the way that they handle the villains in this movie, because you have Hugh Grant's villain, who's the more personal villain. He knows the characters and there's more of a personal stake in there. But then you have Daisy Head's villain, who is more of a world villain.
Yeah.
And so if you have them playing off of each other, because if you just had Daisy Head, I think we would have come across the same complaint that we often have, which is this is a really boring villain, even though Daisy Head is trying her best to do something with it. But having the two of them together and having a very interesting dynamic as people who are working together. But also having it that at least one of them has a personal connection to the villainy, it made it so much better.
And even their interactions, like Hugh Grant, he comes in and sees her with her hood off. It's like, oh, you have your hood off. You should probably keep that on, because you red wizards aren't as respected as I think you should be. Like, he's so scummy, and I love it.
I just want to know what the conversation of him getting this movie was like. He's like, they want me to do what and where? Like,
every time they would bring up Dungeons and Dragons in interviews, he would go dead-eyed and just
but it's also just like he looks like he's having a great time in this movie.
The movie itself, he's having a great time. Bringing up the game,
he's like,
glazed over, lost.
I thought you were mentioning the movie.
No,
it was the game.
There's also so much heart to this film, because you can tell that the people who made it actually like playing Dungeons and Dragons, and even some of the cast, you can tell that they like playing the game. They played before they actually shot the movie. I think they played as their characters. And I think Sophia Lillis and Justice Smith brought up like Critical Role and like Dimension 20 so often in their interviews before the movie came out, which I love. So yeah, Dungeons and Dragons is that's a Honor Among Thieves was a great Dungeons and Dragons film, and hopefully it'll get more people to play Dungeons and Dragons because it's so much fun.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll get another movie because that was delightful.
I'd love it.
I'd love that.
So number 5 for Cassie.
All right. I have realized an interesting conundrum, which is that because I added a movie to my list this morning, one of the movies on my list is now no longer getting covered, but hey, that's okay. It happens. Anyway.
Dang.
So my number 5 is going to get skipped. So yeah, it's Across the Spider-Verse. I'm not going to say the whole title. I don't feel like it.
Skip.
Cool.
Skip.
All right, guys. My number 5 is The Little Mermaid.
Oh yeah, that did
came out
happen.
this year.
It did. The Little Mermaid was number 3 on my most anticipated list last year. It is directed by Rob Marshall, written by David McGee, and it stars Halle Bailey, Jonah Hauer-King, Melissa McCarthy, Javier Bardem, David Diggs, Jacob Tremblay, and Awkwafina. And the IMDb summary is: a young mermaid makes a deal with a sea witch to trade her beautiful voice for human legs so she can discover the world above water and impress a prince. Yo, this is how you do a live action remake. Absolutely. This is up there with Cinderella for me as like my favorite Disney live action movie, or Disney live action remake, not movie.
Right.
It's just so well done because they take the story that we already know and they add to it. I, on occasion, am like, do I like this live action better than I like the animated film? It's a possibility. Depends on what day you talk to me. Because the romance between Ariel and Eric is so much better. I feel like people are like, why is this movie so much longer than like the original film? Because, you know, the original film's like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And this one's like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And it's like, because they actually took the time to really enhance and develop that relationship between the two of them, because it's so important. That's like the point of the movie is the romance.
You should have some depth to it.
Yeah, and they, oh my gosh, they add so much depth to it. They are almost like foils. Like from the moment that they kind of actually start interacting together, you can see that they are perfect together. The music is phenomenal. I love the new songs that they've added for the first time. Is a wonderful addition to the movie, as are all of the Part of Your World reprises that they've added to it. Halle Bailey. I saw this movie 3 times in theaters. Halle Bailey singing Part of Your World for the first time, or she's hitting the crescendo.
Yeah.
Almost cried every single time that I watched that movie.
Ooh.
Just
Powerful.
chills. Gets me every single time. She's perfect as Ariel. The amount of acting that she has to do, because you have to be expressive without saying anything for most of that movie in her case.
Yeah.
And just you can read everything on her face and in her eyes so well. Jonah Hauer-King was great as Prince Eric. I love the song that they added for him, Wild Uncharted Waters. Shout out to Melissa McCarthy. Fantastic as Ursula, proved me wrong completely. Also Jessica Alexander for her 2 minutes of screen time, but she ate the entire time. Yeah, I just think that they did such a wonderful job with this film, enhancing the story in places where it needed to be enhanced, and not necessarily changing it, but also not making it a shot-for-shot remake as well. It's a good blend of the two, and I think that's really what makes a good remake, is giving us something new while also giving us the familiar that we want in the story. The Little Mermaid is my number 5. I loved it. Halle Bailey is so good in this movie, and so is everybody else.
Nice. Love that.
Also, the visuals are pretty great as well. I saw it in IMAX the first time and was very, very pleased.
Okay. It looked good. Number 4. Mine, number 4 is your Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem.
We outside.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God. I love this movie so much.
Bacon, egg, and cheese. Bacon, egg, and cheese. Let me get the bacon, egg, and cheese.
This movie is directed by Jeff Rowe. It's written by Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg, Jeff Rowe, Dan Hernandez, and Benji Samit. Stars Micah Abbey, Shimon Brown Jr., Nicholas Cantu, Brady Noon, Ayo Edebiri, Jackie Chan, Ice Cube, and like 30 other people.
Yep.
And the summary is: the film follows the Turtle Brothers as they work to earn the love of New York City while facing down an army of mutants. But that first part, yes.
With their adorable father.
Played by Jackie Chan. This movie, I saw the trailer. It started with "Can I Kick It?" And I was thinking, oh, if I don't see this, something will happen to me. And then I saw the movie. And they played Annie Up by MOP in the first 10 minutes. And I knew it was going to be one of my favorite movies of the year.
Seth Rogen is that dude.
Seth Rogen. I love everything about it. The cast is amazing. The way that they got these kids to play the turtles.
Yeah.
It's been talked about a lot, but Seth Rogen pretty much he let them record together, which always makes for a better animation experience, I think, as far as voice acting goes. And he would just say, hey, this is what's happening in this scene. Go. And he let these kids just be kids. And that's why this feels like, as everyone has said, they finally put the teenage part in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because they're teenagers and they feel like brothers and they're roasting each other and they're yammering about this and they're just saying things that they think New Yorkers say because they live under New York. Like they're doing an impression of someone trying to order a bacon, egg, and cheese.
Give me a bacon, egg, and cheese.
In various voices. When the kid said, we have silence.
Yeah.
I almost took my phone out in the middle of the theater and put this out like on my list. Like I can't, it has to be. It's so good. Like the animation style is ugly in a way that is very intentional. Everyone looks misshapen. The backgrounds are weird. Yeah, and it's supposed to.
I'm glad you do, because every time I looked at a human, I was like, why are we doing this?
And they say they're supposed to look like a kid's drawing. Like when kids doodle on their notebook, like they draw Ninja Turtle stuff. That's what they went for.
The turtles don't look ugly,
and they nailed it.
Yeah, they don't. The turtles look amazing.
The humans look wild.
That's true. The humans do look wild. But I didn't finish the movie. That's why I didn't make my list. But I just enjoy it.
Yeah,
basically, I like anything that's not sort of just like perfectly round, perfectly shaped, like typical what you think of when you think computer animation. Anytime animators decide to play with it, I'm like, yes, I love this. Give me more. Yeah. So like, Wish, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, any of the Spider-Verse movies.
Right. Things that do something different.
Yeah. Things that like really, incorporate different styles of not just computer animation, but like, but also, traditional animation.
I feel you. I think this is one of the ones that we missed reviewing because of the strike, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And that broke my freaking heart.
There are so many movies we missed because of the strike that I wanted to review, including one of the ones later on my list. I was like,
when I put this on my list, I was like, because normally I'm like, we talked about it in the review. You can listen to it. But no, you can't.
I feel like one day we're just going to have a catch-up day. We should just do a review.
Yeah, stuff we missed because like I need to talk more about this movie. I would just say everyone is fantastic. Ice Cube's having a great time. Superfly is amazing. The actual action, because the animation is amazing. There's a fight montage set to no diggity.
I love that montage.
Without the qualifiers, because some people were like, whoa, animation versus live action. Like, it's just an animated movie, blah, blah, blah. People are stupid. But without any qualifiers, that's one of my favorite action scenes in a movie that I've seen ever. The way they animate the scenes together, the way that you score it to no diggity, which I never thought I'd see an action scene scored to no diggity.
Yeah, I was like, this is a choice, all right.
It was a choice, and it worked so well. But, everything about it. Fantastic. Chef's kiss. I think Jeff Rowe made Mitchell's versus the Machines, which now I have to watch.
I've heard that that's a great movie.
Yeah.
I liked it.
I heard great things about it, and I really love animation. Stuff like this just makes me extra happy. Like Gabby said, seeing people do something different, take risks. It's beautiful in the way that, like, I don't think this movie is aesthetically beautiful, but I do think that
I still think it's aesthetically beautiful. The humans
it's a weird kind of, I see the beauty in it. Like, I think it's beautiful that you guys did this, and I think the way that you created this world in a way that feels so true to the vibe that you wanted to create, beautiful. I just look at certain things and I'm like, ugh, but that was your choice. So yeah, Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, one of my favorite movies of the year, and I'm very upset that the dumbass studios caused the strike and I wasn't able to talk about it earlier. But hey, that's over. Pay them people. So next will be Gabby.
Gabby, what's your number 4?
Oh, my number 4?
Your number 4.
Ooh, my number 4 was Taylor Swift, The Eras Tour.
Yep.
Oh.
Woo.
Yep, saw that coming.
Oh my God.
I saw that coming.
Wow. Okay, onward.
Cassie, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is a movie I saw this morning.
Wow.
Wow.
It's called If You Were the Last. It's directed by Kristen Mercado from an original screenplay by Angela Barraza. Film stars Anthony Mackie and Zoe Chow and has like the shortest Wikipedia article I've ever seen that still is its own article, Wild.
All right.
Oh, I've heard of this. Go on.
Basically, it's about these 2 astronauts who are the last, well, I guess there were only 3 of them to begin with, but are the last 2 left alive on this mission and have been kind of stranded for 3 years. And it's a rom-com. And it's... I struggle with this because while I really, really like this movie, you could just call it hussy behavior and that would work too. That's the whole movie. The whole movie is just hussy behavior the entire time. Like,
how can there be hussy behavior with 2 people?
Relatively early on, they're talking about stuff and they go, yeah, we're both married to other people on Earth. And then it's that.
Yeah.
So if you try not to focus on the fact that it's just completely hussy behavior the entire time, it's really great.
But they're stranded. Are they really leaving this planet?
I mean...
Space horrors. Horrors in space.
It's space horrors.
No spoilies.
I mean...
Space horse. Star Wars, if you will.
I will.
You will.
The thing about it is, like, I was like, okay, it's a rom-com. They're going to be boning at some point, whatever. Cool, okay. I didn't expect moments to, like, hit me as hard as they did. Because they're on the ship, and they've been on it for 3 years. And, like, I think the navigation's broken and the comms are broken. That's why they can't get back and they can't talk to anybody, right? It's just other stuff, other, like, incidental stuff happens with the ship. Other stuff breaks, and it's just, like, you do get a sense of how much being stranded, like, the toll that it's taken on them, even between all the silly stuff. Like I said, technically off mic, I cried 4 separate times watching this hour-and-a-half long movie. So
this is that movie.
Yeah, it was a wild morning.
Wow.
It's real good, and I would recommend it. It's on Peacock if you have that or have access to it. It's only an hour and a half, and it's good. You should watch it. Unless you don't like hussy behavior. You don't like hussy behavior.
Sure.
It's hussy behavior all the way down.
Turn to Zoe Chow and the Hoey Chow.
Sir, that was just a role that she played in a film.
I know. I wouldn't call her that in real life.
But it was a good joke.
Thank you.
It was
Appreciate that.
Solid joke. All right, I guess that takes us to my number 4, which fittingly enough is John Wick Chapter 4.
Hey, look who's getting skipped.
I know.
Serendipitous.
I know. But I'm just happy that I had Fast 10 at 10 and John Wick 4 at 4.
Yeah.
Love that.
Love it.
All right, that takes us to our top 3.
Top 3. Hey, to me, guess what?
What?
My number 3 is John Wick Chapter 4.
Hey! I love when we do this.
Yes.
Once a year, at least.
Number 3, which was my number 3 most anticipated movie of the year.
Your
it was my.
I know myself.
It was my number 8 most anticipated movie of last year.
Beating expectations. God, this movie. Let's talk about who did it. Directed by Chad Stahelski. He's that dude. He makes these movies. He's great. Written by Shay Hatton and Michael Finch, starring Keanu Reeves, Donnie Yen, Bill Skarsgård, Lawrence Fishburne, Hiroyuki Sanada, Shamir Anderson, Lance Reddick, Rina Sawayama, and Ian McShane. Summary is John Wick uncovers a path to defeating the High Table, but before he can earn his freedom, Wick must face off against a new enemy with powerful alliances across the globe and forces that turn old friends into foes.
This movie was so good.
It's so good. It's so long. It's so tiring, and I love every minute of it. So, something about me, I don't like my movies to be super long typically.
Yep.
But
that's you.
The antidote to that is John Wick movie. Like, this movie is almost 3 hours, and there's nothing about it that I would shorten. And the action scenes are super long, some of them. We watch this man go up 200 stairs, get kicked down 200 stairs, go back up 200 stairs.
And it was tense the whole way through.
And it's just, these movies get bigger and better every time.
Love it.
I don't know how he killed people with horses in the third movie. Horses, books, pencils.
Yep. That was the second movie, right?
The third.
Dogs.
It's like, the second was Halle Berry and her dogs, right?
No, third movie was dogs too.
Oh, the second was the Italian dude. Yeah. But God, they were just like, you know what we need to do? Hiroyuki Sanada, Rina Sawayama, Donnie Yen, Scott Adsit. Like, they just brought everybody who can throw hands in Hollywood and put them all in there.
Not everybody. There's still a few more people.
They're still missing some people.
Chuck Norris has not made an appearance yet.
Well, no, he can't, because then he'd beat everybody. We can't have Chuck Norris in these movies.
He might be the one that defeats John Wick.
But yeah, Donnie Yen, I need him in every action movie forever.
That's
for
how
the
I
rest
feel
of
about
his life.
Hiroyuki Sanada.
And this movie gave us a Donnie Yen, Hiroyuki Sanada sword fight.
Yep.
Like, what more could I ask for? I've been blessed.
Joe Taslim needs to be in the next one.
I would love that. And the world building, always amazing. They always find ways to make it better. What they did with, I don't know who she is, they don't really show her face, but they kind of referenced The Warriors with the woman speaking into the mic, and you just see her mouth, and she's kind of like calling everything.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Also, Rena with
fantastic.
Her few minutes of screen time, fantastic as well. The cinematography on this movie is sickening. There's
beautiful.
The lighting. There's a fight scene that's done from the ceiling angle of the from the bird's eye view.
Yeah,
and it's incredible.
Turned it into a straight up video game.
And it was beautiful the whole way through. This movie was. I remember coming out of this movie and just being like, "This is one of the most epic action. Like, this is actually an epic.
Yeah,
this is an action epic.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I loved that movie so much, seeing as it's still pretty high up on my list since it came out. I personally do not have a problem with really long movies as long as they're good movies.
Yeah.
I tend to not see the bad long ones. I've gotten lucky.
That's good.
And so this one, I think what's crazy to me is that it's almost double the length of the first movie, which was only like an hour and a half. Now we're hitting like almost 3 hours, which I think just kind of goes to show like John Wick's the evolution of the storytelling in John Wick, which is like the first one is very fast paced and like we're going here. We're like, it's a very concise story.
Mm-hmm.
This fourth movie, even though we're still doing things very the same, like the fight scenes are still great and we still like have the same style, but we're allowing things to breathe more and we're allowing ourselves to have those emotional moments last longer. Like there's like scenes in this movie where John Wick is just kind of looking and staring contemplatively at things, and we couldn't have that in the first movie. That would not last.
No,
but we can do that here, and because we allow that, it allows the pacing to go longer, and it also allows us to have longer fight scenes, which I mean that's what we want out of a John Wick movie.
Yes,
but
they're so long.
The cast is great. All the newcomers are great. The story, I love the John Wick stories. They are always super simple, but they get the job done.
They do.
Action sequences, like I don't think there are action movies that are doing better fight scenes right now than the John Wick series.
Yeah, at least not in America, because I haven't seen a lot of.
That's fair.
Like,
no, you're right.
Overseas foreign
American action films. We're not.
But even that, you take some of the best people from overseas, like Tana Yin, who made a lot of those overseas action movies.
Hiroyuki Sanada.
That dope. And Hiroyuki, you take them and you put them in John Wick. It's like, let's get the best of the best.
Yep.
I'm really looking forward to Shogun.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that yet. Man.
It's not out yet.
It's not out yet?
No, I don't think it's out yet.
Okay. I keep seeing ads for it.
I hope they put Jackie Chan in one of those movies soon.
Oh, that would be sick.
I would love that.
That would be amazing.
I would love that. But yeah.
I was supposed to watch John Wick 4 with Demi, and then a transformer exploded. And
oh, yeah.
That's right. That was that stuff. Yeah. And I ended up seeing it different. I think I went the next day.
Yeah, you went and saw it right away, but I was like, this is like the one time I got away from my teeny tiny baby.
But we had good dinner.
Yeah, we did have a good dinner.
Yeah. Had a great time.
If y'all ever want to have a day where we sit down and watch John Wick 4,
I'm
down for it.
I don't think I've actually seen it since I saw it in theaters.
Oh, really? I rewatched it like a week ago.
Dude, we can watch after this.
It's so good.
It's funny because it's one of those things that like, I would love to just have a John Wick day, but that's so much. Like that's
so much John Wick.
That would be like a work shift.
Yeah.
Just like, but seeing
I could do it.
It go. I would definitely do it.
It's
but
like
seeing it go from 1 to 4, like that transition from movie to movie to movie.
Yep.
Would be amazing.
Great. Yeah, no, I just did a Willow marathon at the beginning of December, and it started at like 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning, and we didn't end until like 10 or 11 o'clock at night. So it shouldn't have taken that long, but it did.
One day, John Wick chapters 1 through 4.
Yeah.
Let's get it.
Also, you'd see how like the first one was like, this is low budget, and the last one is they threw so much money at us.
We have all the resources.
It's like budget. There's no budget.
But also, I've done a Lord of the Rings extended version marathon, so.
Oh yeah, you can handle John Wick 4.
Me too.
John Wick ain't nothing.
1 through 4 with no problem.
I used to do Lord of the Rings midnight movie. Like this movie would start at midnight in a movie theater, and it was the extended edition. We wouldn't be out till like 4 a.m. It was great.
I've also done a Pirates of the Caribbean marathon. I haven't done full on Star Wars. I've done trilogies? Star Wars, you have to break into sections.
Yeah. Right. So, there's too many of them.
But I've done those. All right.
Yeah, John Wick Chapter 4, Keanu Reeves is a national treasure. Congrats to Canada.
That is correct. Congrats to Canada.
He's also now our national treasure.
Yeah, he's been here for long enough.
Gabby, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is Bottoms.
Skip.
I knew it.
It was the fastest skip ever.
Yeah, that was so quick.
It was a quick draw.
It's a Western out here.
Alrighty, Cassie.
Cassie, what's your number 3?
Okay. My number 3 is Theater Camp.
Nice.
Yo, that's another Ayo Edibiri joint.
It is another Ayo movie.
Ayo.
Theater Camp is directed by Molly Gordon and Nick Lieberman. It was written by Noah Galvin, Molly Gordon, Nick Lieberman, and Ben Platt. And it stars Noah Galvin, Molly Gordon, Ben Platt, Jimmy Tatro, I'm not sure how you say that, Patty Harrison, Nathan Lee Graham, Ayo Edibiri, Owen Thiel, Carolyn Aaron, I'm getting tired, Amy Sedaris. Okay, we can stop there. I don't hate when things happen with too many people. But, I mean, it's basically about a theater camp that's, like, run by this lady who has a seizure, I think, and ends up in a coma. And so the camp kind of has to continue without her for one summer. I mean, her son sort of shows up to take over. But it is also a mockumentary.
Oh.
It's very silly. I mean, it's a theater camp, so you would imagine that it is kind of, I don't want to say outlandish. I don't know what the word is you use for that, but...
Dramatic?
It's camp.
It's very... It's camp, yeah.
It's camp.
It's
like,
camp.
Yeah.
It's
in a great way.
theater kid energy and put it in a movie.
Yeah, exactly. It's a movie about theater kids made by theater kids, so it's going to be fully theater kid. I don't know. This movie, it just makes me so happy. It's so much fun to watch, like, how this camp, which kind of is a disaster at first because the lady who runs it isn't there, like how they pull that together and make stuff work. Without getting too into it, I would say one of the most like awkward moments in the movie actually comes back at the end and turns into something beautiful in a way that I was not expecting. Also, Ayo Edebiri is, for me, the best part of that movie.
She's barely in it, but her comedic timing is always on time.
She comes in as a camp counselor who faked her credentials, and the way that she does that is so good. It's just, oh my God.
It's a really good movie.
It's so good. I saw it twice in theaters, and
I watched it recently, obviously for Ayo, and I just thought it was extremely funny. It's really heartfelt. It's really good. I'm also a fan of Molly Gordon because of Shiva Baby and The Bear. I was really excited to find out that she actually directed it and I guess co-wrote it as well. But yeah, it's a really good movie. It's on Hulu, easily accessible. It's only an hour and a half, and it's a lot of fun. Which I guess takes us to my number 3, which is going to get skipped. It's Barbie.
Skip.
Hey, we gotta skip.
That takes us to number 2, Dallas.
Number 2. My number 2 was my number 2 most anticipated of the year, Creed 3.
Nice. Let's talk about it.
God, about Creed.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about it, and it just kept getting lower and lower and lower.
I hate when that happens when it's like, ooh, I really would love to talk about this, but the movies keep coming out, and so.
But I kind of also figured that it might be on your list.
Of course.
So I
freaking love it.
I was hopeful, and I was right.
Continuing my streak of movies being where they were on my most anticipated list. Directed by Michael B. Jordan in his directorial debut.
Woo!
And he killed it. Written by Keenan Coogler and Zach Balin, with a story by those two and Ryan Coogler. Starring Michael B. Jordan, Tessa Thompson, Jonathan Majors, Wood Harris, Mila Davis-Kent, and Felicia Rashad. The summary is, Adonis has been thriving in both his career and family life, but when a childhood friend and former boxing prodigy resurfaces, the face-off is more than just a fight. I love that it ends with more than just a fight, because the reason that I say Michael B. Jordan directed the best Creed movie is because, for me, every Creed movie is a really good boxing movie.
Yeah.
And this is the first one that to me feels like more than a boxing movie.
Oh.
Because as much as I love Ryan Coogler, he's my favorite director. I will take no disrespect of that man. But when he made Creed, he was making a very good boxing movie.
He was making a Rocky movie, but for Creed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he did everything, I think, the best way you can. He did everything that you do. He checked the boxes. He colored in the lines with boxing movie this, boxing movie that. Like, the antagonist is just whoever is the best boxer right now.
Yeah.
And then in the second one, it is Drago, but that's a Rocky situation. It's like,
it's a legacy situation.
Yeah, it's when people say Spider-Man is fighting all of Tony Stark's villains, not his own.
Big Nasty.
This one is, shout out to Big Nasty, this one is Creed's story.
Yeah.
And it's not just, oh, this guy I need to fight is from my past. It's, this guy I need to fight is from my past, and I need to look back at my trauma and assess how I handle my trauma and stop holding things in and opening up to my wife and raise my daughter.
That was like,
wow.
Looking back on that, that was really good, because it's like, his trauma comes back, like the things from his past that he would like not want to confront now come back, and he starts acting like Donnie has always been a rather occasionally problematic person when handling with his emotions and things like that. But
which probably you may have to be to want to punch people in the face for a living.
Possibly. Yeah. But I feel like in this movie, it feels different because of the way that he's treating Bianca and the way that he's treating like everything in his life. It's not just about the boxing. It feels like it really does come from a far more personal place. Also, whenever I talk about this movie, I always say that this feels like, in the same way that this is Donnie having to do this movie without Rocky, it feels like, Michael B. Jordan is also having to do this movie without the Rocky stuff too. He's now having to stand on his own, and it's like, we have to make a Creed movie that works without Sylvester Stallone altogether. Right. Without Rocky, without the legacy, without any of it. And I feel like Michael B. Jordan was also paralleling Donnie in that way. And this movie stands on its own so very well, and it's so good.
It's so good. They do everything so well. The acting is so good. Dame, I've been talking about this since the movie came out, but the way that Dame switches up his character from even before his big fight, you see him in the documentary, and he talks in a way. Have you seen this movie?
No.
He talks in a way that is very
so good,
timid, like he has something to prove, but he's not used to this. So when he's talking to the camera, he's like, oh, I was like the #1 ranked young fighter when I went in. And after he wins that match, he's a completely different person.
Oh, he's a narcissist.
He is.
If it's what I think it is, at first the ego was there, but he's like,
No,
is it?
He's playing it as if he has no ego. He's playing it for the camera.
It's interesting. Like you have to kind of see. Yeah, but
dang it.
Yeah, it's just.
I was hoping
really
that like
good.
he's there the whole time, but he's not letting us see it.
There's something there.
There is a little bit,
but it's more like
it's not the ego.
There's kind of like a resentment
it's
and
the
like
aggression.
There's an aggression there, and he holds it in a way that feels perfect. And man, the acting, but also the music. The last thing I'll say before I move on.
Well, I got
shout
one
out
more
to
thing to say too.
Okay, cool. Dreamville did the soundtrack. Love it. J. Cole, JID, Earth Gang, Ari Lennox, Kehlani, who I don't think is part of Dreamville, but she has that song.
Ooh,
Shadows.
Shadows is also on my playlist and has been for a minute.
Yeah, just great. And the way they use the music, because Dame is from Crenshaw, and both of his fights, he comes out to Nipsey Hussle songs. So the first one is Grinding on My Life, which like everything I did to get here, like I worked hard, I went to jail, I came up, I fought hard, blah, 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 blah. Like Grinding on My Life is the perfect song. When he comes out as the champion to fight Donnie, it's Last Time That I Checked, which is, I'm that nigga. Like, ain't no dirt on my rep. Last time that I checked, like, look at me. I'm the champ. I'm that. It's just the perfect choices that you can make for a character. And so much of this movie is just the perfect choices. Also, I love that Michael B. Jordan is a weeb because these fight scenes go so hard.
That's why I want to see it. I want to see the anime.
His fight scenes look like an anime. And I love from the minute the movie starts and we start seeing real close-ups of like the fist going into somebody's body, but then you see the like ripples of the skin and the sweat like droplets like moving in slow motion. I was from that moment I was like, oh, he wasn't playing. Well, this is an anime. And the final fight scene with
that's the kind of stuff that makes it more than a boxing movie, because it's like you shot this very well, but also we're getting into your mind.
There's like little like
he has like a metaphorical piece in the middle of the final fight scene. Like Michael B. Jordan went full anime, and I love him for it. And I need him to direct more action movies because it would be sickening. It would be astounding. Also, this is I think the first sports movie to ever be in IMAX, and it was phenomenal.
Wow. Like shot in IMAX.
Yeah, they use IMAX camera. It's IMAX cameras and everything for some of it. So it's just chef's kiss, beautiful.
Cinema.
I was so sad that it was like 11. It's right there.
Almost there.
It's right there.
Well, I'm glad that we got to talk about it
because it's so good. And I love
number 2.
I'll take any opportunity to talk about Michael B. Jordan and how talented he is.
Love him. Yeah, it's my number 2.
Gabby, what's your number 2?
Mine is gonna get skipped, but it is Across the Spider-Verse.
Skip.
Yep.
Cassie, what's your number 2?
My number 2, we can talk about it, I assume, is Taylor Swift The Eras Tour.
Let's talk about it.
I mean, we did at length, but
directed by
we have a
she got her own episode.
Directed by Sam Raimi.
It's
not really written by anybody. Starring Taylor Swift.
And the IMDb summary is experience the Eras Tour concert performed by the one and only Taylor Swift. Indeed. We have an hour-long review about this, for the record.
We do, where we just gushed for an hour.
We spent it's called the Taylor Swift episode because that's how long we went on and on about Taylor Swift.
Yeah. See.
It's great. It's a fantastic concert film. Her concert was amazing. And it's at SoFi. LA, what's up?
Yes. Hometown.
I have a question for all of you.
Yeah.
Yes. Because you weren't here for that review.
Oh, yeah, he was.
No. So it was, Beyonce did like a full documentary and Taylor did mostly concert.
Beyonce did half documentary, half concert. Taylor's is the full concert
completely
experience.
concert.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Like, I haven't seen Beyonce yet, but if I wanted a doc from anybody, it was going to be Beyonce. If I just wanted the 4-hour concert, it was Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift, they each gave us basically what I wanted.
She also has already made at least one documentary, so...
Oh, yeah, Miss Americana is such a good documentary.
Yeah, she's put it out. But yeah, it was literally from start to finish. It zooms in on the stadium and starts the concert. And then it like goes until the concert's over and then the movie's over. Yeah.
Taylor Swift has some of my favorite concert films. I've watched so many of her concerts because I still haven't been able to go to one. And I've been watching them since I became a fan of hers in high school. She gets better and better every time. And this is just such a display of showmanship and artistry. I talked about it in the review. It's the only time I've ever watched a concert and like considered sitting in the stands because I always prefer just having floor seats. I'm not trying to sit in the stands or nothing like that. Yep. I'm bougie.
I agree with you.
And it's my parents' fault. They took me to NSYNC concerts and I always had floor seats. But
good for them. Good for you.
But like Taylor Swift had stuff like actually on her stage floor that you could look at. And I was like, that's actually really cool. And that would be an experience I wouldn't want to miss.
Yeah.
The talent. My girl is talented. I don't care what y'all Taylor Swift haters say.
And
my girl
she did like, I don't know how many shows were in this tour, but it's 3.5 hour long show. No, I mean like
Oh well.
Oh no, like
No,
Like,
it
how
could have
many-
been all three of the SoFis. Yeah.
Well, I meant like just how many times she had to do this 3.5 hour concert.
Oh,
And-
like in
Oh,
real?
like
oh,
total?
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
like total.
She's still doing it.
Yeah. It's still
Oh,
going
right,
on.
yeah.
It's a world tour.
Yeah, she's still
I
going.
think she's doing this like the Latin American leg right now.
She might be on a break from Latin America, or she's done with it. But she's also coming back to the U.S. to do New Orleans and another location.
And Miami.
Damn.
But yeah, it was such a good concert. Like, it made me so sad that I didn't actually get to go to this concert, because this is like such a celebration of her and her career and all the eras that she's put together. And just, I wish I could have gone to see it in person. But seeing it in IMAX was great, and the audience experience was also fantastic.
Yeah, the audience experience was fun. Like, my showing definitely had people like singing along, and like, I think the second time I saw it, there were like 2 little girls who got up and were like dancing at the front. It was adorable.
I had so many people dancing in the theater that I was in. It was like crazy. But it's just so good. All the craftsmanship that she put into it, it's excellent. I love her music already. So,
and that's the thing is, like, I love some of her music, but this was really interesting because, I mean, there were songs that she performed that I'd probably never heard before because I just didn't listen to them. But she knows how to put on a show in such a way that even the songs that I wouldn't find interesting anyway were made interesting because of what she was doing with them. And that was just so cool.
Yeah. The thing I love about Taylor Swift is that she knows how to put on a show, and she knows where her strengths are, and she knows where, like, I guess she would know where her weaknesses are, but she still works at making those as perfect as she possibly can. But her strengths really, really shine in these situations, for sure.
I saw like a not a blooper clip, but like a behind the scenes clip with like her and her backup dancers and singers, and they were like, that's the Taylor Swift pose, and they were like, what do you mean? And she was like, oh, this is what I do when I forget the choreography. And it's just like, and you see it a lot during the concert, but it still looks like strong and self-assured. It just like she forgot the choreography, so she's just gonna stand here for a moment and look out and sing from here, and then as soon as she catches up, she'll move on. But it's great.
Yeah, she's a master of performing. She's figured it out. She's been doing this since she was like 15 years old, so she's got it in the bag. And this concert tour is so cool, and I can't wait to actually be able to own it. I'm not trying to rent it. Sorry, Taylor. I'm trying to own this.
Yep. Something you buy.
All right, I think that takes us to me.
It does.
That takes us to you.
Top 2.
My number 2 is Bottoms.
Hey.
Yay, let's talk about it.
Directed by Emma Seligman, written by Emma Seligman and Rachel Sennett, starring Rachel Sennett, Ayo Edebiri, Ruby Cruz, Havana Rose Liu, Kaya Gerber, Nicholas Galitzine, Miles Fowler, and Marshawn Lynch. And the IMDb summary is: 2 unpopular queer high school students start a fight club to have sex before graduation.
Yo, this movie's amazing.
I considered putting this as my number 1. I really did. Long and hard. This could have been. I feel like my top 2 movies are actually my number 1 movie of the year, but they're so different that it was just like, just choose one and don't make a fuss out of it. Just pick one.
Okay.
I love this movie so much. I saw it 3 times in theaters, and the first time I saw it was when it was like limited release in LA, so there were only 3 theaters playing it in the area, so I had to go to Burbank to watch it.
Yeah, I also watched it when it was limited, I think, right?
I think so,
because we reviewed it at that point.
I think so. This movie is the funniest movie of the year.
Yes,
it's absolutely hysterical,
hands down.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny. Laugh out loud consistently from beginning to end.
Yeah.
I love these characters. One of my favorite things about Rachel Sennett is her fearlessness when it comes to playing characters who are kind of unlikable.
Yeah.
PJ is so awful, and I love her.
Yeah.
I love that Rachel Sennett is not afraid to just go for it with those characters.
Yeah.
Ayo Edebiri is fantastic as Josie, and the more likable one for
She tries to be the voice of reason. Tries and fails.
Epically fails. The 2 of them together, plus Emma as their director, because all 3 of them have known each other since college. They all went to NYU together.
Oh, wow.
Just like them all working together on this, it clicks so well. Everything just goes together so well. And also Rachel also being a co-writer on the movie, also allowing people to improvise, because I know that Marshawn Lynch improvises quite a bit. Ayo has the scene in the car where Ayo is going off. Josie's talking about the future and how she's gonna have to marry this gay guy and how he's gonna end up being the gay pastor, and all, like, she goes on this anxious rant, and that whole thing is Ayo Edebiri just improvising, and you can see Rachel Sennett glance behind the camera for a second, like, are we We're still gonna let this go? Okay. Like, I love it. And then my girl Ruby Cruz from Willow.
Just being adorable.
Being the best. Just being the best character in the movie. Hazel is wholesome and she's the heartthrob of the movie. I don't care what anybody says. She's the best. I would have started a fight club for her. She's the greatest. I adore Hazel. Hazel is the sweetest and deserves the world and a far better love interest than what she ends up with.
Yeah. And Marshawn Lynch.
So funny.
So wildly funny.
Love him.
Thank you, Marshawn.
Also, Havana Rose Liu.
Gorgeous,
and also a fantastic love interest to play off of for Io Debris, but also super funny.
Yes. And Kaya Garber was funnier than I thought she was going to be.
Kaya Garber's amazing. Yeah. Havana is improvising her reaction in the diner, which is super hilarious, and Io almost broke character. Everybody in the movie is so funny, and the movie itself, the tone of the movie, it's just so ridiculous. It's one of those like super bad type movies.
It's giving like early 2000s sex comedy.
It is, but it's better.
Yeah, it is.
It's so much better.
It's kind of like the way that Poker Face is giving the USA
Columbo.
Procedural, the Columbo, and then you just take it, you modernize it, make it better.
Yeah, it's so much better. It's so hard for me to like offensive jokes because I'm like, it's so offensive. Oh my God. But this movie does it in a way that I'm like, I don't feel bad laughing about this.
Yeah.
Like
it's not really punching down.
There's a suicide joke in here that had me like, I'm cracking up. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you just said that. There are so many different jokes like that in this movie. But also there's a lot of heart. I love that about this movie. I love how much heart there is in it. You're really rooting for these characters to get laid.
Yeah, we really
to be better people.
No, I was mostly to get laid.
No, just kidding.
I was like, I really hope Io's character.
I want Josie to be
a hot girl.
I want Josie to be better.
Yeah, Josie was the worst.
I need PJ to be better. I need PJ to be a better person.
Yeah, PJ needed to like.
Hazel doesn't have to change a single bone in her body.
Oh, that poor sweet girl. And what happens to her?
What's good?
Also, the final scene was perhaps the football scene was like the most ridiculous, hilarious thing I had seen in years.
Last thing I'll say about it, what I really love is that it's a high school movie, but it is like we are not bothering to ground ourselves in realism. We are going full force on the ridiculousness.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It's like we don't care at all. Like people die in this movie.
Oh yeah,
and they're like,
yep, let's move on. It ended.
We don't care about the consequences.
Freeze frame.
We're gonna make jokes about what the consequences could be.
Yeah.
Even the start of the movie where they're like, our high school rivals are beating people up, and people are just allowing this to happen. It's not a crime or anything. It's just happening.
Yep.
Like bombs go off in this movie.
It's so good.
It's so wild. And I want to thank Emma Seligman for just being like, I want to make a really silly queer movie. It doesn't have to be deep.
Or like heavyweight.
It just has to have heart. And it just has to be silly. And that's what this movie is.
Yep. And it's a delight.
Charlie XCX, the soundtrack was a banger.
Yeah.
Score was a banger. And like there are several songs from this movie that are on my playlist continuously. This movie is the reason why when I went to go see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I gave it the review. If I had a nickel for every time Io Debris has played a high schooler whose locker has been vandalized, I'd have 2 nickels. And it isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice.
In 1 year.
Interesting pattern.
For me, it happened in a week.
Oh, wild.
Interesting pattern.
This is now my feel-good movie. This is like, I feel sad. I'm popping this bad boy on because I know that I'm going to laugh hysterically.
Yeah, it's a delight.
And also fall in love with Hazel all over again.
Yeah, my face and my side hurt from how much I laughed and smiled when I got out of this movie.
I was so happy to have seen this movie 3 times in theaters. It made me so happy.
It was really good. Please watch it.
Yeah, that's my number 2, Bottoms, although it was definitely fighting for number 1. It might actually also be number 1. My number 1 I chose because I knew it would be easier. So yeah, that's my number 2. And that leads us to our number 1s.
Number 1.
Yay, we made it.
Our favorite movies of the year.
Yes.
Dallas, I know me and you have the same one, so
we do.
At the same time. 3, 2, 1. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Which was also my number 1 most anticipated movie of 2023.
It was my number 2 most anticipated movie last year because my number 1 didn't actually come out this year. Or last year. Ain't that something?
Oh, Dune.
Dune was my most anticipated last year.
It was supposed to come out last month.
Happen.
November.
Had I had the foresight that it wasn't going to come out, Across the Spider-Verse would have been my number 1.
Right. All right.
Hey, we didn't know the strike was going to happen.
Sure didn't. Across the Spider-Verse, directed by Joaquin Dos Santos, Kent Powers, and Justin K. Thompson. Written by Phil Lord, Christopher Miller, and Dave Callahan. And starring Shamik Moore, Haley Steinfeld, Brian Tyree Henry, Lauren Velez, Jake Johnson, Jason Schwartzman, Issa Rae, Karan Soni, Daniel Kaluuya, and Oscar Isaac. Summary is Miles Morales catapults across the multiverse where he encounters a team of spider people charged with protecting its very existence. When the heroes clash on how to handle a new threat, Miles must redefine what it means to be a hero.
Bro.
Oh my God.
Best movie of the year. Best movie of the year.
This is the best movie for me. This is the best movie since the movie that is a sequel to. Like, I didn't know what they were going to do.
Yeah.
I didn't know how they would match what they did.
But man.
If they would match what they did. And I went in and I watched it. And I still don't know how. Like,
I came out of the
make
movie.
movies is good.
It's so good.
I remember coming out of the movie and like having to rank it for Letterboxd because I have a Spider-Man ranking list, and I was like, I don't even know which one's better, this or Into the Spider. I've just established that I'm not gonna decide until Beyond the Spider-Verse comes out, and then I'll make the decision.
Okay.
Yeah.
But both of those, oh God, Across the Spider-Verse, man, I saw that I think 2 or 3 times in theaters, and I
saw it twice.
Every single time was just amazed at how good that movie is.
When it came out, and then I saw it again 2 days later.
It was so good.
And it's just everything I love about Spider-Verse. For the most part, they just came and doubled down on it. Like, there are certain things, obviously, like Peter B. Parker's not in it as much because it's a different story.
Which is fine, but Gwen Stacy's in it more, which I love.
And we got Hobie.
We get Hobie, like, you just get so many...
Pavi.
I love Bobby.
Yeah.
I love everything.
It was adorable.
But it's just...
We got like double cheeked up. What's that, Miguel?
I didn't know where that sentence was going.
I didn't either. I was like, what's happening? But
he's caked up.
Gabby's corner is the only corner that feels that way. So.
That is not true. The rest of the world does too. I promise you.
Gabby's the representative of the
Miguel Thirst Club. Meanwhile, I'm not thirsting for Miguel because Hobie's right there.
I mean, I love Hobie too, but
Gwen Stacy is also right there.
Gabby has 2 hands.
It's true.
Man, this is a movie that's like, it's almost hard to talk about because
everything's so good.
What can I say that hasn't been said by everyone since it came out about how great it is?
Yeah.
The art styles are phenomenal.
Fantastic. The score, Daniel Pemberton put both feet into the score. The first one, amazing. The Prowler score still gets me chills.
Yeah.
The way Miguel comes in, when that score hits, oh my God.
The soundtrack is dope, like the outside of the score.
Right.
The soundtrack is dope. One of my favorite things about this movie is like the meta commentary on canon.
Yes.
And
now it's like part of our vernacular, like the canon event.
Canon event, but like for years gatekeeping fanboys have been like, oh, that's not canon, or this isn't canon, or that's not canon. You can't do that because of canon. And this movie was like, screw your canon, because I can do whatever the hell I want.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna do my own thing, and I'm gonna do what I want. There are studies about fandoms and about like almost like the gendered way that fandom can be practiced, and I'm not gonna discuss that here, but like it's so interesting to think about, especially in the context of this.
Yeah.
I love that messaging. And I'm sure that the gatekeeping fanboys probably didn't understand that was probably geared at them.
They did not get it.
The growth of Miles Morales, like this movie hit me so hard because when the first one came out 5 years ago, my younger brother was 10.
Yeah.
And then when this one comes out 5 years later, my brother's, he was turning 15. He's now 15.
Right.
He's the same age as Miles now. And so like he's my own little Miles Morales. And like I was watching that movie and I was like, and the first time I saw it with him. And I was just like, I've got my own little personal little Miles Morales right next to me. This is my guy. Yeah. And to the point where he now owns Spider-Verse J's that he just got over Christmas.
Yo, he got a pair of those?
He got a pair, yeah.
Those
for his birthday.
To get.
I think my dad got him for him.
Nice.
But
good
yeah, like
dad.
Like I love the character of Miles Morales so much because it just reminds me of my little brother. It's just like, I want to protect you. And so like when his mom was giving that speech about don't let anybody tell you that you don't belong in a space. It was just like, first off, I felt that for me, but I also felt it for my brother. Like I love this movie so much, and like its messaging to like little black kids and little brown kids everywhere. We do this.
Yeah. And just Miles' parents.
I love them so much.
Like Brian Tyree Henry is always amazing and he's always funny, but he was on a different level in this movie.
Yes.
When they're having that parent-teacher thing with the counselor, and like Miles is saying all these scientific terms, and his dad is just trying to get quantum. Yeah.
I don't know what that means, but yeah.
Oh, that sounds like a really good made-up job.
And I talk about this every time we talk about this movie, but Luna Lauren Valla is coming in,
man,
to really get to play Rio this time around.
Yeah, not just like a quick little.
You want to talk about how the internet was thirsting?
Oh.
Rio changed the game.
Yep.
Dallas, me and you were thirsting before that movie came out.
So I've seen the first Spider-Verse,
and Cassie
let's say
gave us
100
mess
times.
for it.
Yeah, always. Cassie's judgmental. But I've seen the first Spider-Verse 1,000 times. And I remember watching and seeing Rio like, nobody else seeing this?
Nobody.
What's going on? So when the second one came out and everybody was talking about it, I was like, okay. I was like, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, vindication.
We're like the hipster thirsts over here.
Right.
In peace.
Yeah.
That movie is just everything about that movie. There's not enough time in the world to discuss how great this movie
my
is.
favorite thing to say about this movie is to quote Terrific Tariq on Letterboxd. He said, this Letterboxd shit broken. Ain't enough stars in the world.
It's true.
Ain't enough stars in the world.
It's just Hobie. We could do a whole podcast episode about Hobie.
Just Hobie.
Hobie's that dude. And the solidarity
I don't believe in comedy.
Right. Daniel Kaluuya's performance and the character itself, like the function that he serves, not just being this dope ass black Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But also like
but
an actual
the ally that he is.
Yeah.
And for
the palms.
Miles and man, that use the palms, not just the fingers. Oh, it's also good.
It's also good.
The references. If a movie can go too hard with Easter eggs and references, this is that, but it worked because you have this whole multiverse. Mm-hmm. So yes, we do get the shout to Spectacular Spider-Man, my favorite Spider-Man thing that's not Spider-Verse. We do get Donald Glover sitting there.
Yes, which was amazing. It was like vindication as well.
Yeah. We do get freaking Andy Samberg playing Ben Reilly.
But also like
I love it so much.
I think I said this during the review. This is like the Empire Strikes Back for this franchise, for this series.
We end on a low.
We ended on such a low point. Or like even like Back to the Future Part 2, I also think about a lot when I think about this movie because of the way that it ends. And what has to be done in order for us to get through the next movie, which who knows when that's coming out. No,
it's okay. It'll come out.
It'll come out. Just
give them time to work on it.
Also,
please.
please
don't overwork your workers.
Overwork your animators.
Please, nobody should be sleeping at their desks.
Shout out to the TMNT production crew actually because they didn't do that.
By all accounts, they had the time and resources they needed to make it work.
Yeah, I get studios want to rush these movies, but please don't. We would prefer to just have a really good movie that takes its time and doesn't abuse its workers for it to get done.
Exactly.
But yeah, this movie is just such a good sequel. It's a fantastic sequel. And I'm like, it's one of those movies I'm like, I can't even tell you if it's better than the original or not. But what I do know is that it's not worse.
Yeah.
Like in any way.
Yeah. I still can't say, and I honestly believe I'm probably the biggest fan of the first Spider-Verse movie in the world, but I don't know if I can say either one is better now. Because
I can't get there.
I've seen this one, I think 3 or 4 times, and I've seen that one 300 or 400 times. So it's hard to compare, but
when we get
one day, maybe.
When the third movie comes out, it's literally, we're probably just going to be like, yo guys, all 3 of these movies are bangers.
It's
there is
the best
no one
Spider-Man.
that's better. It's just...
And
hit.
It goes to show how great it was that 99.9% of movies I've seen since the first Spider-Verse came out, I was able to say Spider-Verse is better. But when I came out of this one, I was like, I don't know.
I don't know.
The cinema.
It's cinema, man.
Cinema.
It honestly, if it's not nominated for Best Picture, I'm actually going to be very upset because the Academy has a tendency of not nominating animated movies for Best Picture. So,
it's one of those disappointed but not surprised situations. If it's not nominated, I'll be like,
I won't be surprised, but I'll be extremely upset because I'll be like,
it should be, but I'm not surprised.
It's legitimately one of the best movies.
Because a lot of people don't look at animation with the respect that they should.
Yeah.
But hey, fantastic movie.
That was me and Dallas's #1, the best movie of the year, Across the Spider-Verse.
Which
I disagree, but
Cassie, it's in Cassie's list, but she just kind of let us go. She didn't say anything, and it was in her top 5. But I'm pretty sure we covered it.
Dallas, who's going to do a better job than us on it, though?
Literally nobody.
It was in my top 5 too. I just want to say that. My top 2.
Gabby, what's your #1?
My #1 is what I think is the best movie of the year, which is Barbie.
Hey.
Yay.
I have the info on that if you want me to.
Okay, yes, please go ahead.
Is it on Cassie's list too?
Yeah.
All right, Barbie, directed by Greta Gerwig, written by Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach. Congratulations to them. They recently just got married.
Hey.
Oh, wow.
Tough.
After like 11 years together.
And it stars Margot Robbie, Ryan Gosling, America Ferrera, Ariana Brianna Greenblatt, Will Ferrell, Simu Liu, Issa Rae, Kate McKinnon, and so many other people playing Barbies and Kens.
I know.
And the IMDb summary is Barbie suffers a crisis that leads her to question her world and her existence.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
It's
Great
also
movie.
about like how hard it is to be a woman in the United States specifically.
It's also just in general about how hard it is to live under the patriarchy, whether you are a man or a woman.
Yeah, like expectation and demands. And
shout out Bell Hooks, who would say that patriarchy has no gender. I think that is a quote from Bell Hooks. I might be wrong. I might be somebody else.
But low key, you're not wrong, because even Ken was like, man, patriarchy sucks.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Anywhere else I'd be a 10. This movie had such an impact. I bought my younger brother a I Am Knuff sweatshirt.
Dude, I have an I Am Knuff sweatshirt. I'm about to wear it to your house next time I go over.
My cousin calls him Ken.
Oh.
He is a Ken.
It's because he's like, oh, what is it like?
I asked him if he wanted to.
No thoughts.
Well, no, I was just like, do you want to be an Alan? He's like, no, I like being a Ken.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he gives Ken energy.
This movie is so good.
It's wildly good. I'm not ugly crying.
I'm not surprised with how good this movie is because of who it's written by and who it's directed by.
I had hopes because I do like her movies. So I was like hoping it would be a hit, but I was also like, she doesn't make this kind of movie. She doesn't make like, big studio movies. So what is she going to do with it?
She's not been allowed to. People need to understand that that's a thing in Hollywood, is not being allowed to do certain things. And of course she was going to make a studio movie that is within her range. Greta Gerwig, I don't think Greta Gerwig has it in her to make a blockbuster big studio film that does not have some sort of messaging in it. I don't think that's her style.
Yeah.
And I think she did it beautifully with this movie.
I get that. I was just like, what is she gonna do? Because it just felt like
awesome.
Yeah. And it was so good. I also like, there is this huge element of like fantasy surrealism to this movie that I found completely delightful. It was, have you seen it, Dallas?
I have. It's my first Greta Gerwig movie because people of color in it. You add melanin and I'm there.
But also, even if there were people of color in the other ones, I don't think they would be.
No, they were not your vibe, even a little bit.
Definitely
the only reason I think you would even think about watching Lady Bird is it's filmed in Pasadena. But
I do love Pasadena.
Yeah.
Even I haven't seen Lady Bird.
I dug it. And it was a delightful surprise. I was like, they filmed in my church. Like the church I grew up going to. Anyway, this movie's so good. I was like ugly crying. The parts were like they were going about like mothers and daughters. I was like, because I'd recently had a baby. I mean, I still, we all know about my baby. She's a frequent co-star.
Yeah, she's a new guest star on the show.
Oof, God, I was really caught off guard by this movie. This movie really, goodness gracious, made me feel so many feelings. And I was like, I came in for a movie about a doll, and I'm like ugly crying now.
Meanwhile, I got everything that I was expecting from this movie. So I was like, oh yeah, the Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach are about to kill this. Let's do this. This is about to be deep as hell. And it was. But also it was so much fun. And just like I was talking, Bottoms, I said, is the funniest movie of the year. It is. Barbie also has some of my favorite jokes of the year as well. The Zack Snyder joke is peak comedy.
The whole deprogramming scene.
There aren't a lot of jokes that are better than that.
Yeah.
And then like the joke about if you wanted to make this point, you shouldn't have cast Margot Robbie.
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
Dude, that's a good.
The depression joke. Barbie watching Pride and Prejudice over and over again. I was like, oof, relatable.
Does not apply to me, but I have definitely watched Pride and Prejudice with other women who I know who were depressed. So
yep. And like, oh God, what was the other? The entire deprogramming scene. First of all, America Ferrera, now they're like going in hard on an Oscar campaign for her, which like good for them, good for her. But also just when they're like, just tell them you've never seen The Godfather. Just a bunch of stuff. And like having the guitar played at you as a girl that's happened to. Wow. It's so specific, but also so universal. Ugh.
And that's what makes a good movie, honestly. It's something that is so specific that it's universal. It's a really good story. It's really well done. They like Noah Baumbach and Greta Gerwig did such a great job writing about like gender roles and gender expectations. But also it's almost a coming of age story for Barbie, and Margot Robbie plays it so well. Like I wasn't anticipating the performance that Margot Robbie gives in this film, though I think she's one of the best actresses of right now.
Yeah, but again, it's a blockbuster.
Well, no, that's not. For me, it was everybody was talking about Ryan Gosling. Nobody was talking about Margot Robbie like that.
Which, like, of course.
Yeah, like, eye roll.
But yeah.
But, like, Margot Robbie just gives such a great performance, and I would love for more people to talk about how great she is, especially on that bus stop scene and in the scene with both scenes with Ruth are phenomenal. She's great all the way through, and Margot Robbie has such great comedic timing, and she's just so good, guys. She's
so delightful. It's good. She carries the entire movie.
It's kind of on her. She kind of lets Ryan Gosling kind of just be out there. But it's very important that she does the more straight man stuff that she does, even though she has some hilarious lines too, like about fascism. And
that was like, she's like, but I don't control the means. She's the railroads are the means of commerce. Oh,
Margot Robbie gives her everything to her roles. And then also I adore the casting for all the Barbies and all the Kens. Issa Rae, Simu Liu, Ncuti Gatwa, whose Barbie is Emma Mackey, his co-star from Sex Education.
Scott Evans.
Ritu Arya, who I adore. Like, so many great people who are playing Barbies in this movie just for like even short amount of time.
Yeah.
But they all do such a fantastic job.
Nicola Coughlan.
John Cena.
Yes.
John Cena.
Dua Lipa.
It's so good.
Also, soundtrack slaps.
Yes.
Because Dance the Night, my God. Jammed.
So I listened to the entire performance of Push like on the soundtrack, and it is so silly. He goes, like, he does all the inflections of the original singer, but like times 10. And it's plus I'm just Ken.
For the record, guys, Ryan Gosling also is fantastic. He does deserve a lot of, like, so much of the praise that he is getting for this movie. I just think that Margot Robbie deserves a lot more.
Yeah, like in the movie about Barbie, why are we talking about Ken? But also Ken did a great job.
Also, America Ferrera is phenomenal in this movie.
Yeah.
I also love the scene between Barbie and Ken at the end, where she tells him that it's okay for him to just be him. Just be Ken. And it's okay. So many great things about this movie. It's phenomenal, which is why it was my number 3. Gabby's number 1.
Yes.
I don't know where it was on Cassie's list.
Cassie?
Where was it on your list?
7, I think.
Yeah.
Nice.
You know what? I was going to say 7. That was going to be my guess. And I just didn't feel confident.
It was so good. I loved it so much. It made me feel so many feelings. And like, it was the end and the cherry on top of my Barbenheimer day.
So good. Had a great time.
So wildly good.
My brother gave me so much crap because he was like, you're not wearing pink. And I was like, I am wearing pink. It's a coral color. It's coral. And he was like, it's not pink. And I was like,
he's like, it's not pink enough.
It's like, first off, I'm wearing a pink sweatshirt. Second of all, I'm wearing a Birds of Prey shirt underneath it, which means not only do I have Barbie on my shirt, but there's
Barbie.
pink in the shirt.
Oh.
So get off me.
Get off my back.
He was like, not pink enough. Did he wear pink?
He did. He wore his pink SpongeBob sweatshirt.
Oh, I love how he went on
and not wear pink himself.
Hey.
That's true.
Some people have the audacity.
me and him made it a big deal that we would be wearing pink to go see Barbie. So.
Oh, I love it. I love it so much. He was like, you're not my level of pink. You're not Patrick Pink.
That's
he's like, you're not baby pink.
Basically. But yeah, that's Barbie.
Oh.
Cassie, round us off. Last one. What's your number 1?
Cassie.
Oh? I think about what you're saying.
Must you phrase it that way?
He said what he said.
What do you mean?
Maybe rephrase
that face tells us you know what you mean.
This is the last one. You're finishing us off as a group, as a team, as a whole.
Group project.
All right. So I am resigning from Creative Differences. Good fucking bye.
At least you finished the recaps.
She still has to give us our number 1.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, at this point, I don't even want to burn it down.
No.
Anyway, it's a documentary called Summer Camp. Camp is spelled with a Q because it's about queer kids.
Oh.
Yeah, I guess every year Portland has like a LGBTQ film festival for like a weekend. And that was one of the movies I saw there. And it like destroyed me in a very good way. Because it was like, I had just recently come out as trans. And so like, oh my God, if this had existed for when I was younger, maybe, oh my God, it would have been, it's just like,
oh yeah,
Jesus Christ. It's like, it's, I don't know what to say about it because it's a documentary about like a summer camp for queer kids. So, I mean, it does a lot of, the kids talking about like how much it means to them and shit. It just, it hits so hard.
Good? Because I know that sometimes you watch something and it hits you in a certain way and it's more your emotional attachment to it. But like, would you say it is a well-made documentary? Like, is it a good movie?
See, it's hard to separate because I don't do that.
Yeah.
I do.
I mean, I want to say yes, but the subject matter is so specific that if you are not interested in what that is, I wouldn't say, like, if you don't give a shit about the queer kid summer camp as a concept, this movie is not worth checking out just for that. Like, just because, oh my God, it's so well done that you have to,
That's fair. That's most documentaries. Like, I'm not going to go and watch a really well-made documentary about something that
about a factory.
It's not my interest. Right.
I'm not going to watch like a really, really well-made documentary about like, I don't know, the making of shoes in some country I've never heard of, because that subject just doesn't interest me, and that's okay, you know.
Yeah.
But like, if you are interested,
at this point we're talking about interest, but you can say whether or not that's a good, whether it's well made, because it's just like, yeah, there was a lot of information and it was very informative. It's just not for me.
Right. Yeah. And sometimes it's like, oh, well, you didn't really do a lot with this documentary, but it be like that sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
But most importantly, it hit you in a way that it needed to.
Oh, yeah.
Because of what it was about.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I was just sobbing pretty much throughout, like from the jump. It's a long 80 minutes to be sobbing, but hey, sometimes that's what you got to do.
Documentaries, man, they be hitting.
They do.
They can. It's real. For sure.
But yeah, I mean, it's technically not in wide release. I guess it will be at some point. I don't know when, but
hopefully.
I mean, if you like documentaries about queer people going to summer camp, which is a very niche subject, it's great.
Good to know.
And that concludes our top 10, guys. Our top 10 favorite movies of the year.
We did it.
We did it, guys. Thank you, guys.
Did it.
Oh my God.
That is our top 10 favorite movies of the year.
Yes. Thank you for listening to all of that. If you knew what it took to get this episode done, man, thank you to Crown Digital, Brandon and Io for putting us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. To me, thank you for editing, putting us on YouTube, helping with our IT warfare between starting and finishing this episode. Gabby, thank you for watching just enough movies to have a list.
Woo.
We love when you come through with enough
the
to have a list.
Minimum.
I wasn't going to say the bare minimum, but you know.
A little bit over the bare minimum.
A little bit more
than the bare minimum.
Turns out I watched 14 movies
Exactly.
last year.
We love that for you all. As long as you do 10, you fulfilled your obligation. Cassie, thank you for putting us on to summer camp, which none of us knew about. And Star Wars, aka Hussies in Space, which none of us knew about. I always count on you. Also for that allegation evidence, because I didn't forget about the horror movie you had.
Hey.
Did not forget. Audience, what'd you think of our list? We are different people. We have some similarities.
Creative differences.
Yeah.
See?
We love that. That's who we are. Tell us, what's on your list? What's your favorite movie of the year? Is it Spider-Verse? If not, explain why. That's a baby. So yeah, you can let us know in the comments or hit us at Twitter at y'all_different, Instagram and Tumblr at Creative Differences Podcast, Facebook.com/Creative Differences PC, or TikTok at Creative Differences Pod. If you want to talk to me about how Spider-Verse is the best movie to come out since Spider-Verse, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at King Name Symbol.
Hi, I'm Gabby, and I like romantic comedies, and you can talk to me about how great the Barbie movie was on Instagram at Stegosoria.
Come talk to me about, I don't know, whatever's on your mind. I'm available. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Sassy Soothsayer, which is so hard to say.
Sassy Soothsayer. Yeah,
Sassy Soothsayer. Say that 5 times fast.
I'm sorry if you have a list.
Right? I was just, oh man, targeting these people.
If you guys want to talk to me about whether or not the characters in Bottoms are actually Bottoms, you guys can find me on Twitter at Demi_Joual. Joual spelled Joie. Thanks again for joining us. Tune in tomorrow. We will be talking about our top 10 favorite TV shows.
Yes. Thank you so much. It's been different. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Speaking of Bottoms, question for the class. If you could, Gabby is looking at me crazy. If you could insert Io Adebari into any TV show or movie franchise. All right, calm down. If you could insert Io into any show or a movie franchise, what would it be? Because she'll probably be there soon.
You're not wrong.
Not if it's already been canceled.
Oh, right in the feelings. Oh, that's
I'll
so
say
hard.
Doctor Who.
Oh, it's Star Wars.
Interesting.
Let me look at my top 10 list real quick. I actually really like the Doctor Who idea. I think that should be great on Doctor Who.
It'd be pretty fun for those people.
Yeah. Or we could just go with my generic answer of Willow and call it a day.
I figured you were going to say Willow.
I could, and it would just be fun just to see her act with Ruby Cruz again. But also, no, Doctor Who actually would be like sickening.
And my answer, a little sneak peek into tomorrow's TV episode, bring back Blind Spotting and put her in there.
Oh, she'd be great.
She'd be great. Make her like Earl's sister or something.
Yeah.
I'm with it.